Ladies and gentlemen, live from the broken down, low-rent, sleazy, double greasy pirate radio Nut Hut Studios, it's time for the very first ever Southern...
Street gang, both is all fighting. Standing by, over. Street gang, both is all fighting. Standing by, over.
Right now, it's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines...
Clock's run out. Time's up.
Wind is blowing cold and dark.
Indicator -7. Roger.
On the road and no way out. Broken hearts, the smoking gun. On the run. On the run.
Target distance 6 miles. Roger. 6 miles. Pulse ident transponder active. Pulse ident transponder active.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit smoking.
Target distance 5 miles. 5 miles. Homing alignment factor 0 mode. Homing alignment factor to 0 mode. Target distance 4 miles.
You were the girl that changed my world. You were the girl for me. You lit the fuse, I stand accused. You were the first for me, but you turned me off. You dropped the bomb on me, baby. You dropped the bomb on me, but you turned me on. You dropped the bomb on me, baby. You dropped the bomb on me.
3 miles.
You were my friends. You were my
Target in sight. Where in hell is Major Kong?
You turned me out. You turned me on. You turned me loose and you turned me wrong. You dropped the bomb on me, baby. You dropped the bomb on me. But you turned me out. You dropped the bomb on me, baby. You dropped the bomb on me.
Hey,
Just like Adam and Eve, set yourself free. You took me to the sky. I've never been so high. You were my peace. You were my prince. You were my hope. Baby, you were my...
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit smoking. Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit drinking. I can't take much more of this. Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit amphetamines. Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
It's Saturday night. Mom's Jimmy in the microcosm is on the yacht. Roger that.
I am here.
Excellent.
I gotta tell you, I've never been more glad to be here in the islands than ever in my life.
I hear you. Well, I don't know. You got it made over there. That's for sure. I mean, you're self-sufficient. You don't have to do anything. You can just exist, go out, have a mango, drink some coconut water, go out spearfish. As long as you got a mask and a spear.
You're good, man. Just don't nuke us. That's all I say.
Gold. Yeah, I know. Well, you guys had that weird anomaly that happened a while back where they, shut down the airspace and all that. They thought something was incoming. So I think I hear something, some background noise, just all of a sudden appeared. Now it went away. I don't know what it was. It sounded like we were in New York City. Man, it sounded like New York City. Hey, that was
Saturday night.
It is. Well, hey, that was Brother Cry of Love is the album, that song. Highway Jones, the name of that song. Completely forgot about it. And then there it was over to the right there. So Rock and Rio's here tonight. Another special friends here tonight. And you're here tonight. Hopefully share it out, let people know we're on the air. And we will, tread on, as it were, here for you.
Oh, boy went back to Napoli.
Hey, BJJ.
He missed the scenery, the native dancers, and the charming songs. But wait a minute, something's wrong. To do the mambo like a crazy and hey mambo, don't want a tarantella, hey mambo, no more the mozzarella, hey mambo Italiano, try an enchilada with a fish and bacalao and hey Goomba, I love how you dance.
Hey Goomba. Hey, you got your top hat on and your stool and your whip for the reverse perverse circus.
Yeah, it's a creepy one.
Oh man, look at Sophia Loren, boy. Tell you what, look at that dude. Woo-hoo.
Cause I love it when you're taking me in. Hey, Jadro, you don't have to go to school. Just make a little beat bambino. It's like a vino. Kid, you're good looking, but you don't know what's a cooking till you hey. Shake it, baby, shake it, cause I love it when you're taking me by the pizzeria. That's where I'm gonna be. Don't you tell your mama, mama's gonna tell her papa. There's nothing to it, come on baby, let's do it. Hey, mambo.
Wow, look at Sophia Loren, man.
Mambo Italiano, go Joe. You mix up Siciliano, it's so delicious. Everybody come to fish out of mambo.
She still looks killer too, even as old as she is. Believe it or not. I don't know. Whatever she was doing something good. Whatever she was doing. Hey, man, it's Bruce McDonald.
Them wild-eyed boys that had been away haven't changed, had much to say. But man, I still think them cats are crazy. They were asking if you were around, how you was, where you could be found. I told them you were living downtown, driving all the old men crazy. The boys are back in town, boys are back in town. I said, the boys are back in town.
The boys are definitely back in town. Hold on. Sophia Loren. It's hard. It's hard to shrink Sophia Loren because she's.
Well, it's hard to shrink in the presence of Sophia Loren.
There you go. That's a funny epic journey.
Sorry, I had to be why I laughed. Yeah.
There you go. All right, Bruce McDonald's here. Epic Journeyman's here. Rockin' Rio's here. Rockin' Rio's got reverse perverse, but the world in itself is in a reverse perverse right now. So, Bruce McDonald, welcome back into the microcosm. Just a small group of us here over on the strike zone because we got struck out over at the other zone. And we're still struck out on this zone, but somehow I'm able to go live. I don't know how, but I'm not complaining. So here we are. There's 20 people here so far. If you guys let people know that we're over here, if you're over in the Discord, over the Kev Baker Show Discord, somebody let them know we're over here. So what's happening, man? What are you guys up to? How's it going for everybody in the countdown to Armageddon or whatever?
It's phenomenal over here, actually. I mean, if you didn't know that this situation that we have at hand was at hand, you'd be loving it. I mean, it's been beautiful weather. I mean, I've been here for years. I've never seen the whales go off like they're going off right now, like just jumping and breaching all over the place. And it's phenomenal, man. It's like every day is like a pleasure cruise, in a way. And yet here we have this horrific situation. I mean, if you just turned off the TV, you would never know.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's exactly right. Because it's this whole thing is being put forward like a movie. Because if you turned it off, there's nothing going on, at all, and you could enjoy your life, too, at the same time. Because if the maximum flash is going to happen to you, it'd be much better off spending your days enjoying yourself and just being caught off guard in that moment and be turned to dust, Instead of spending every minute of every day worrying about when it was going to happen. If you just turn this shit off, it wouldn't even be happening at all. You wouldn't know it was happening. You wouldn't know what's happening in Israel. You wouldn't know what's happening in the Middle East. You wouldn't know what's happening anywhere. You'd just be living your life happy, carefree. That's how people used to live before they got into this shit, looking at this stuff all the time.
What's the name of that Twilight Zone episode? The monsters are on Maple Street, I think, where they go and the invaders come and they just try out their plot on one little couple, section of city blocks, basically, right? But the people around them have no idea that's going on, right? I mean, and that's kind of, I think, where we're at in a way. Like this is horrific what we see going on. It is. I want to help. I don't know how we can help, but at the same time, like, if you just were on your city block, one block over from Maple Street, you would never even know. You wouldn't even have a clue if you just turn the TV off.
What the thing is that, I honestly, this is my honest feeling. I feel that here in America, through the internet and through everything, all means of communication, that we're on some sort of a delay. Like, I think we're on a 24 to a 48-hour delay of what's really going on, because really there's no way to know what's going on unless somebody says something about it. And being able to hold the whole internet up for one day for 48 hours, I mean, it's possible to do that. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, 21st century warfare is well aware of internet operations so that, populations can be brainwashed by other countries. So there is definitely a filter in place in the event that something's happening to keep your populations from being manipulated by behavior modification techniques and operations. So there's definitely a filter there. And I think any news that's happening is delayed. Any news that we're seeing is at this point is, can you believe it? I mean, Bruce, you brought up a specific news agency that you look at coming out of China. You know, what do you see? Or what kind of stories are you seeing over there? Because to me, I see what we've all been talking about for a long time is that Asia's coming out strong. The Asian countries, the old Silk Road. You know, part of that is Kazakhstan, where we saw some unrest a while back. You know, that's the steps of the, you know, going into China. Russia, the BRICS that we saw. What's his nuts? Biden. He says now he wants to run sanctions against India because they're so tight with Russia. So that's China, Russia, and India are three of the big players in BRIC. You know, so it seems kind of funny. We're seeing America being isolated and exacerbated as far as the economy is concerned, because any kind of economy that might have been trying to be reestablished now at this point, it's like my mom was saying earlier. It's like she goes, well, if people are pissed about the price of gas, why don't they go back to working at home again? You know what I mean? Why don't companies say, hey, to save on gas, go home, work at home? Well, yeah, that's good too, but then aren't we right back where we were? Well, I mean, we're right back where we were now, but not for a whole different reason. In other words, now all of a sudden, people aren't staying home because of the thing. They're staying home because they can't afford to drive someplace to go to work. I mean, you know, look, man, if you're driving most people on one level, when the price of these big trucks went down, like these older models of these Escalades and these Suburbans and all this, when the price of those finally came down, there was used ones on the market. A bunch of like people that couldn't afford to run those cars or own them bought those cars because gas was a certain amount of money. You know what I mean? But all of a sudden, when gas is like $6.66 a gallon.
We went through that too, though. Like it was in 2005 or 6, and then again in 2014. I mean, it broke the $4, $5 barrier several times in the past. It's just this time it's going to be a little more persistent, I guess is the right word, right? Because how can we fight this without cutting off Russia's oil? We have to do that. That's the only solution there. And people think that's the only solution other than military conflict, and I don't see a way out of this without a military conflict, honestly.
Well, here's what I see. I see these same things, which is whatever they're saying. What's going on is America is being the one that's being cut off. So you're no more oil for you, no more wheat for you, and 3 weeks.
We're in quarantine, right? Yeah, but you know, the thing about that is.
And let me finish. This one's important. This one's really important, bro. This is the most important one. 3 weeks from now, it's planting season in North America. Fucking Russia cut off our fertilizers, man. No fertilizers for you. And, you know, they need a certain amount per acre. So without it, you can't grow food. So with the delay in fertilizers means a delay possibly in the planting season, if there even is a planting season, and the wheat's been cut off. So it seems like the food supply and the gasoline supply are going to be in short order. They're going to be a lot of money because it'll be scarce and it'll cost twice as much to get it to where it's going.
I can say that the twice as much part might be correct, but the rest is wrong. One of my things working for KBR Halliburton when I did over in Iraq is I had access to all these internet files basically, and I looked at them all, right. And that was back in 2003 and 4, and I've stayed with this ever since. And the thing is, we are the #1 producer of oil in the world. We actually export more oil than we import. And the thing about it is, it's a shell game. Our companies, our corporations over here, make money off of the fact that we export our oil to make the profit margin go up. We don't have to import oil from Russia or anywhere else. And in fact, the very little bit that we do import is less than a couple percent overall, and it's only 3 to 7% over the last couple of years of the actual imports, which is a fraction of what we have of our oil supply, is from Russia. It wouldn't mean a thing to us to get rid of oil coming from Russia at all. What would matter would be that then we'd have to cut off our export and cut that profit margin to our oil companies over here.
Well,
that's all it is.
Here's the thing, though. here's the thing, is that may be well and good and all that, but the thing is they're making the transition now. So when we're talking about the Great Reset, part of the Great Reset is making the transition away from oil. Okay, so the thing is irrespective of the reason why it is or isn't, whatever the reason is that gas goes to $7 a gallon, which it's gonna. The reason
it'll go to 8 or 10. Actually,
it'll go to 10. But the reason is it has nothing to do with Russia. It has to do with transitioning from the old system to the new system, and because they're going to use this. They're gonna blame it and focus everyone's hate and anger on Russia because of it in the population. But reality, they're all working together, man. Putin's objectives will be met, and when they this whole thing will be over.
Reality.
You go ahead.
If I may, is that we don't need oil at all.
I know.
We haven't for years. I mean, that's the thing. We have technologies. Don't call them green technologies. Call them whatever you want to. But we have technologies right now that if we were actually ramping up our production ability to make them available to the common person, would absolutely eliminate our dependence on oil everywhere in the world. ITER. I worked on ITER. ITER by itself, right? Which is this fusion reactor that is being tested, about to be fired up soon, hopefully. The pandemic slowed it down a little bit over on the border of France and Switzerland. Mm-hmm. That thing is gonna they call it a mini star, right?
Star in a jar.
Yeah, but that thing will power the world, power us to the stars and everything else. So what people always fail to miss a lot of times, well, in the media for sure, not us here, not our listeners for sure, but in the media, is that when you're energy independent, truly on the individual level, energy independent, you have no need for government anymore. Right. I mean, that's the issue. Right. Because once you can just, get anything you need out there on the land, you just go out in the woods. And next thing you know, you fire up your little whatever it might be source of energy. Free energy is a real thing. And that horrifies the controlling class. Right. Well, and it's oligarch class that we fight. That's what it is.
It is. And, I'll just say, man, there's the old way is on its way out. And that's what the whole Great Reset means. It means that everything is going to change. And, I sent you that video for The Fourth Turning. There's a book called The Fourth Turning. Are you familiar with it?
That's a good video. Yeah. I saw the day you played a little bit of that video. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get into some of that tonight, too. Bruce is here and Rio's here, too. But Bruce was bringing up something that he was seeing over there in this news from China. But I just want to say, and I know this is gonna trigger you, man. But I'll tell you, I tell you what I see as a possible scenario, because Trump is so stained from the jab thing at this point, and he has definitely got Putin's ear. Like, him and Putin get along. So I would put forward that a possibility will be that at some point after Putin has met his objective, Trump will go over there and fucking solve everything and then come back and run for president in 2024, because that's the only way that dude's getting in. He's not getting in any other way. And believe me, part of what's going on right now the part of why Biden is doing what he's doing right now is because of what's going on, what happened over there with Victoria Nuland and the Obama administration. So Victoria Nuland is still working in the Biden administration as an undersecretary of something. I might be an undersecretary.
Well, Paul Manafort is critical in this whole thing. Paul Manafort is the guy who was working with those original oligarchs, or Ukrainian oligarchs in this case, that were close to Putin. And so the whole situation in Ukraine revolves around oligarchs. Like we said, the whole thing is more like a Bond villain Spectre kind of situation of world government than people really realize that it is. That's what it is. I mean, these people want to stay. They want to be, I've said the word last week, demigods, not demagogues, demigods. They want to be like the gods of Mount Olympus. Think about it right now. Somebody who's a multi-billionaire like these oligarchs, if they walked up to any girl on the street, any guy even for that matter, said, "I'll give you $10 million right now to fillet me," right? How many people would say yeah? That's godlike capability. That's what that is, and that's what they want. That's what they cherish, and that's what they want to instill, and when they want to keep it. And so this whole war that we see right now is a war for that. It's a war for our minds and to subjugate us.
Well,
I mean, it's not about politics as we know it.
did you see the estimate of the natural resources in Ukraine?
But Ukraine provides all the grain for most of Europe.
$1 trillion, man. There's a lot of money there.
Well, yeah. I mean, just ask Metaphor.
So the Israeli Prime Minister went there today to negotiate. He was negotiating for Ukraine with Moscow. He went there, he left, and then after he left, he tweeted out that all Israelis should leave Russia immediately. And the same thing came from America today. Also, so I mean, there's still a lot of things going on with that Fukushima, man. They need to cover that shit up. I mean, easy way to cover it up would just start slinging some bombs over the Pacific. What a horrible, terrible war that was that ruined the ocean over there. It wasn't the fact that they're pumping all that fucking shit into the ocean every day. Hundreds of tons of fucking radioactive water in the Pacific Ocean. How's that sushi? Hey, dude, have you ever hit those fish out where you live? Have you ever hit any fish with a Geiger counter out there?
No, I haven't actually. I've kind of always wanted to.
You should. You should go.
I think they're available on Amazon now.
You should go spearfishing, man. Fucking spear yourself a fresh fish and hit it with a Geiger counter. Because
I have 7 spear guns, man, and I haven't used them yet since I moved to Maui. And I have a badass one I just bought. I got to go try it out. I have to.
I'll tell you what, man. When I was a young kid, and I used to go spearfishing when I lived in San Diego, like when you met me. I used to go spearfishing on
in La Jolla, right? At Boomers Beach?
No, but I used to go off the pier, off the rock.
Oh, Ocean Beach.
Ocean Beach, yeah, on the side where the boats went in and out.
A lot of scope in there.
Yeah. So, but the thing that I was tripped out by about it was how easy it was just to go down there and shoot yourself a fish, and it's just like sticking a line in the water and being in the water with a spear gun. It's like you can just sit down there and go. I mean, you're eating in 5 minutes, man. That's what I mean. You got it made over there. If everything went to shit, all you need is,
I showed somebody that one time. I was working for RCA Service Company as a military contractor doing crypto gear installs, basically on Navy ships and bases when I first got in the Navy. And one of my coworkers, I was telling about spearfishing because I'd take days off sometimes when the water was good in San Diego to go spearfishing. And his name was Brian Bullitt, if he's listening today. I said his name, yes, because it's an interesting name. Because he looked like, remember the movie Silverado, where, what's his name? He got an Oscar, actually, as best supporting actor in that movie, I think, who ended up marrying Phoebe Cates. I can't think of his name right now. Had the beard. He looked just like him. Irrelevant to my story. But the thing is that he came with me. And I literally swam out. I have a messed up a spear gun from Boomers Beach, and within 5 minutes, shot a calico bass, brought it in, and said, "See, yeah, it took me more time to swim out there and swim back than it did to go get the fish in the first place." So yeah, it's not that it's easy. It takes skill. But still, once you have that skill, it's like anything else you have a skill for. It becomes easier and easier.
Man, I used to just be in that kelp. The kelp's just going like this, just going in there, just go. And just reel that peckerhead in. I shot a lot of barracudas, though.
Dude, they turn around too. They're fast, man.
They are really fast, man.
Yeah. Kevin Klein, thanks, John Nelson, in the chat over here on YouTube. Kevin Klein, yeah.
So like the reason I'm saying that this thing is like mostly theater is because things are moving forward and things are going on, but if the weapons that we have today, you could vaporize somebody by a GPS location. So I mean, if they wanted to take Putin out, they could just go and that'd be it. Period. The end. So I mean, we're living in this. We are in the new world as far as technology is concerned. This ain't World War II, man. This ain't 40 miles of trucks coming into your country. This is one electromagnetic pulse, and that's it. And they pick off people with drones. There's no. It's not like it was anymore. So this whole thing is just to drive an agenda. We're gonna get the COVID thing was losing steam. All these lawsuits started coming out. All this information started coming out about these tests that were run, and that thing started falling apart. And they're almost at the goal line, man. It's like it was like 4th down and 3 yards to go, man. Dude, as well as I do, they game this out. So they already know what populations are going to do based on what they say. They've got the behavior modification already ready to go because they ran this out in the mirror world. They already saw what was going to happen. That you actually have Nazis calling people Nazis, but the Nazis are actually Jewish.
Well, essential world simulation. Yeah, that's totally real. That people. I mean, we talked about this almost 4 years ago now. I think it was 3 years ago, certainly, and we're talking about the fact that we might be here in America in a state of quarantine from the rest of the world. Like we are actually the ones who are quarantined. Like we think that we have all the information, but we don't. Like yeah, sure. There's people that the internet is the internet, and people can communicate across portals everywhere. But what we actually see in our media gets delivered to us and packaged to us is something that is old news maybe to the rest of the world. I mean, and there's a very real aspect to that. I think there is.
There is. I mean, and the thing is that's what I mean is you see an overall. I mean, it's just a Pavlovian reaction to the psychological data that's been scraped off of the population. They know what to say. They know how to motivate a group to get them active, and once they get active, it'll motivate another group to get active. Because what these people are saying, they can light fires and start domino effects all over the world, man. That's what's going on, and you're actually seeing the new world order is actually falling apart because everybody's cross connected as far as food and trade, and everyone's all of a sudden starting to say, well, I'm going to keep my vegetables. Yeah, I'm keeping my wheat. Forget about you. You're not getting my fertilizer. You get my fertilizer over here for me. You know what I mean? All of a sudden things get a little bit weird, right? Because everybody's used to getting stuff, And
we sold out, right? We sold out. If you think about it, America used to be the breadbasket of the world. We provided the food for the rest of the world, not Ukraine or any place else like that, right? And our Citrus Valley, Orange County was literally all oranges. You used to be able to drive through there on the way to Disneyland, and it was nothing but orange groves. And now it's all condos. Mm-hmm. What happened to us, man? We sold out, and now we're paying the price for it. And now, it's not that hard to undo. I mean, if we make a deliberate effort.
Well,
a deliberate effort.
The thing is that it may not be a choice because Bruce and I were talking before the show, and the Silk Road is coming up and coming on strong. Asia's going to be the leader. China's already the #1 exporter of goods around the world. I mean, come on in here, Bruce. We've just been around.
So there's an elephant in the room that nobody's brought up in the conversation yet.
Okay.
And that is the fact that you have, as Americans, specifically Americans, and I would say the second most at-risk country is Canada. But you have more than one adversary. This is what people forget. You think just because of what Putin did, there's unity in America now? I guarantee you the people handling Biden and his agenda want to milk this situation to have as many Americans killed as possible.
Oh, yeah.
You're not being defended. You're being sacrificed.
Yeah.
All of the consequences of the sanctions are fulfilling the long, dark winter Joe Biden promised.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is all scripted. It has been an elaborate script since 2001, since 9/11.
Yeah, I agree.
You can stitch, okay? They knew America was going to be the most difficult country to break and to bring into alignment with a collectivist global government. I'm not saying communist or Marxist because nobody has a clue what the Great Reset is. I think it involves killing a lot of people.
I'm gonna I'm gonna tell you what the Great Reset is, dude. It's the fourth turning.
Yeah, I read their principal document like I think a year ago.
Yeah.
I'm well aware.
Yeah.
But it does involve genetic alterations. It does involve synthetic implants. They have this all ready to go, man. The prototypes, they rolled them out years ago, man. Okay, so everything that's going on in America now, it's from my perspective here on the mountain in Costa Rica, 7 years out of North America, so a clean palette, let's say. It's not looking good, man. Americans don't have a clue what's going on. And this is all about taking you guys down. And I know I'm coming in a bit hard tonight, but after what I saw done to Australia and Canada, that's how they deal with unarmed countries. They kick the shit out of you, they throw you in jail. You guys are armed. That necessitates a different approach. So the full measure of war is being brought against the United States, and Biden is the figurehead, the campaigner that we'll call the Caesar. But it's not really him, it's the people behind him. But you look at everything that's going to happen, the price of gas. I mean, Trump had the United States as the #1 exporter of energy in the world in 4 years, man, from 0 to #1, okay? And I don't mean to pantomime the guy, but he did do that, okay? So apparently another thing that the media isn't factoring in, okay, is the degree to which this Green New Deal thinking has made us vulnerable. As you see, nobody is, I can see these zealots on the left now, these progressive green lunatics, salivating over the prospect of a whole bunch of Europeans and North Americans suffering as a result of this. Think how Greta Thunberg is. You stole my future. What is she chuckling? It's just pantomime their mindset. Become them. Get out of your mind for a sec. That's how you see what's going on in the world. And it's not looking good, guys. You are flanked on every side. Your Treasury's going to fuck you. Your DOD's going to fuck you. Your American Medical Association's already fucked you. Okay? We had the Pfizer. Anybody taking a look at any of the data on the Pfizer drop?
Don't get me struck out over here. So
All
listen,
right.
so listen.
Sorry to laugh, but yeah, no,
We're hanging by a thread, man.
Yeah.
Listen,
yeah,
though.
it's not looking good. Now, best case scenario is people become aware of it and form sustainable communities with a significant amount of your own food supply. You have to realize you may be going to a state of living that has very little money, okay? Because the way things are lining up now, you guys are not going to get a springboard to rebound from the debt you're in now. America has been remarkable at rebounding from debt, but it's usually by a massive expansion of the money through one of their bubbles. But everybody's on to this game now, okay? And this is the truth of our situation as we look at the economic reality. America has ruined the world. You forced everyone at gunpoint to come into this capital system. Then you said, well, we run it, motherfuckers, and we're just going to rob you when we feel like it. China says, well, I don't feel too good about that. I up you with an Evergrande. And suddenly the entire international financial system is destroyed. Now ask yourself, what third party benefits from this? And then you'll begin to understand what's going on here. We are completely circled now. Completely circled.
Wow.
Half of Justin Trudeau's cabinet in the Liberal Party of Canada are trainees or certified young leaders of the World Economic Forum. They've gone through the training over there in Switzerland. Okay? It's coming up in mainstream media in Canada now, like the equivalent of the Canadian New York Times.
Well, I haven't verified it, but I heard Putin was also on that same thing. He was on that same list. All right.
Okay.
Listen, let's
End of rant.
I haven't verified that though, so I can't verify that he is, if he is on the list. Somebody could check it if they want.
You guys get what I'm trying to say though, right?
Yeah,
Rio,
I mean,
Epic. You guys are flanked on it. Like nobody is your friend.
Well,
you call a cop, he shoots you in the head. You ask your government to bail you out of an emergency, they say fuck you, your house is burned. Find a tarpaulin to live under. Who gives a shit? Keep paying your taxes.
Well, I
think what happened. I think what happened is that the deliberate effort was made to pigeonhole people into an ideology, to put them on different sides and be adversarial, and that is the ultimate goal, right? So if you do that, people who never had a mind for politics in the first place were just out there living on their land and doing their thing. All of a sudden, are picking a side that they don't even know what that side really means.
Exactly.
Right. And it's that kind of pigeonholed mentality that is what was sought after and prized by, we call it the New World Order, whatever call it. But those people, that's what they want. They want us fighting each other because while we fight each other, they do their deeds without us noticing.
Dude, it was 4th down. With fucking 3 yards to go.
The dog got it.
With 20 seconds left on the clock. And it was clear they were not going to get what they wanted out of what happened. So they need to get to where they're going because they're going someplace specific.
Hail Mary time, yeah.
So the thing is that even if the supply chain, they kept saying, the supply chain's fucked up. The supply chain. Oh, the supply chain. But the supply chain started to rebound. Everything started to come in. Everything's starting to move. The ships were waiting out in Long Beach. They couldn't unload the fuckers. All of a sudden, everything seemed like it was going to get back to normal. People are going back to work. Everything looks like it's going back. And all of a sudden, now here it comes. Everything that's going on right now is creating a result that's going to cause the rest of this this new societal leap forward to take place. But it's not going to be before there's some major pain. And the pain's coming. The pain's coming from its financial collapse, man. That's coming.
The big thing about this next great leap forward is it's not going to be just systems and environment and let's say we go to a new energy system, some kind of electromagnetic rail, and nobody drives it. It's not just going to be the external system. It's the human beings interacting with it are going to be part of the augmentation in the system.
Yeah.
And that is, look, I don't often use Christian metaphors, but that is the equivalent in my mind of the commencement of losing your soul.
Well, I think, it's clear that, society's got to move to a place. That's where we're going. And like we were saying, and we've been saying that banks are going to go away, that idea of something called a central bank, there doesn't need to be any other banks. There only needs to be one bank. And we've been talking about it. And now, yesterday in Australia, they got rid of ATMs. No more cash. So if you don't need cash from the ATM, you don't need people inside of banks to give you cash. Those branches are going to go away. Why do you need all these different retail banks? They don't do anything for you. They cost you.
Dude, I do. But that's no big deal, actually. I mean, that's not a huge leap forward. I do my grocery shopping and all my major shopping.
Yeah, no, it's not a leap forwed. But the thing is that when we move into a society where everything is digital, like, for example, Tesla said he was going to turn off all the Teslas in Russia because they didn't like what Russia was doing. See, I mean, the thing is who the fuck is Tesla? And dude, they have that much power. Hey, man, I just don't like what your country's doing. I'm going to turn off all your cars. Really? That's pretty intense, man. Or for example, when there was a hurricane down in Florida coming in, they extended the battery on the low-level Teslas from the satellites so people could get out of town. So if the battery works that good already, how come you don't have access to it when you buy a Tesla? That you have to have some more access to the battery power through their software upgrade. But really, the battery power is there already. It's just a software thing. And that's pretty fucked up when you think about it. You know? So instead of your car going 300 miles, it can go 500 or 700. Or maybe there's even a possibility you could go 1,000 miles. You know?
Well, it's like with the Patent Office of the United States started denying patents to 200-mile plus carburetors. They did that back in the 70s. And that's you can look it up. It's a very real thing.
How fast do you think the world would want to get off oil if fucking in Russia gas is $1.19 a gallon? In Iraq, gasoline right now is 8 cents a gallon.
It was 40 cents or something like that when I was there. Yeah.
So and they say
17 cents in Venezuela.
And they're saying, well, it's $117 a barrel of oil. When fucking George Bush was in office, it was $240 a barrel. Do you remember
you mean
that?
oil man George H.W. Bush might have had a hand in inflating the price of oil? Tell me it's not true.
Let me tell you something, dude. When that $250 a barrel oil happened, you saw the whole Central Valley in from Northern California to Southern California. Used to be all these olive groves and all these fucking trees and all this shit. That's all gone. There's nothing there but oil derricks. When that oil went to $250 a barrel, they were exporting, just like you were saying. They were exporting oil at $250 a barrel. You know, and so
yeah, people just don't know. Like the amount that I call it the shell game, and I don't mean shell like the company. I guess you could call it that, but the fact that we export so much oil that we could use here, just to artificially inflate the price of oil.
They were saying that there's 895,000 gallons coming out of that pipeline. The pipeline that they were pissed about, the Keystone Pipeline, and they had that Buttigieg dude came on there. That Buttigieg guy, he came on there and said that they don't want to find a permanent solution to a temporary problem. He fucked up at what he was supposed to say. Instead of saying we don't want to find a temporary solution to he said it backwards. He said we don't want to find a permanent solution to a temporary problem by turning the pipeline back on.
It's true. The whole thing is like the whole world really is unaware of is just how close we are to universal free energy for everybody. I mean, it was there when Tesla made his proposals, made his creations back in the day, almost 100 plus years ago, and now we have it in the form of fusion energy, which is going to be. It's going to change the whole dynamic of the entire world. And they don't want that because right now, the leverage point that they have over the average person in the world, an average citizen, is our dependence on energy. If you take that away, if you don't have to pay for your heating oil, if you don't have to pay for your gas in your car, if you don't have to go to work to get those things, well, you don't have to go to work for the man, do you? That's the essence of it. And that's why it is what it is.
Well, I mean, there's a specific demographic that seem to find their way to the grave, okay, recently. And it happens to be the same people that remember what it used to be like. Okay, it's the same people that are going to cost money into the future for their Social Security. You know what I'm saying? So the people that exist now and that are existing, and then we're gonna probably see a die off of some people for a while, you know. But the people that are left are gonna be the people that have their cell phones and they pay for everything with their cell phone, and they're the people that didn't have a sweat equity in this country building it back to the way that it is. And the last turning, man, is exactly playing out. It plays out exactly like we're playing out right now. And it's just like we've talked about with that whole thing where we said maybe history's not like we were told. You know, what the fuck is that? Is somebody...
It's time to harvest the crop, I guess.
Sound like somebody is wrestling an anaconda in a sleeping bag.
apologies.
No, it's all cool, Bruce.
No worries. It's just us.
That's exactly what you're doing. You're adding to something, right?
And we're not on the radio right now either. So it's all.
No, it's all good. It's all good that way, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well. Yeah. So I mean, like I say, I mentioned this on the show I was on earlier today. I watched this young person today at a drive-thru pay with their phone. It was just the way they paid with their phone. It's like, and I was watching her paying with her phone, just the way she, held her phone, the way she swiped it over. And I was thinking to myself, see, to her, that is paying for something. She doesn't whip money out of her wallet ever. She doesn't have a wallet. She pays with her phone. And so those people moving into the future are the ones that are going to have nothing and love it. Because when the economy crashes and the mortgage people come and say, where's my money? And you don't have it, they say, get the fuck out. And so that's how they're going to clear out the rest of the single family dwellings. That's how they'll buy up the rest of the single family dwellings at pennies on the dollar after the system crashes again, which it's about to.
Do you think Schwab's pitch finds more fertile ears in younger people? Do you think us on this call are maybe just like beyond the curve? But if you're like 25 and the possibility of owning a home in LA or Atlanta or Toronto or Vancouver is impossible.
Yeah.
Unless don't you think the idea of a great reset sounds pretty good?
It does to them, because they're going to get $2,400 and they're going to pay like $600 for a pod in some fucking thing, urban dwelling. You know? And they're going to have the thing is, it won't be that you won't be able to buy a car, but you won't be able to afford a car because fucking trucks are $40,000, $50,000. And if gas is $10 a gallon.
Why would you? Right? Yeah.
I'm saying if gas is $10 a gallon, but you can call a self-driving car to pick you up and take you to where you're going.
Okay. Have you guys been watching Elon Musk troll Joe Biden on Twitter? It's absolutely brilliant. So Biden comes out with this announcement. We're giving $7 billion to Ford and $8 billion to Chrysler to invest in electric cars. This is going to create 9,000 jobs. And Elon Musk writes back, "I invested $50 billion last year, and I employ 40,000 people." Like, what is your point? Like, this is, and the reason he's doing that, I don't know if you guys know this, but Musk has sounded the alarm for reinvigorating the American energy program, domestic energy. He says, if not now, when? If you guys were saving that energy, and Canada has a lot too, for an emergency, would this not be that emergency? Okay, so if they don't respond in kind, how many times do these people need to? I don't know how graphic a metaphor I can use here, Jimmy. Like, what are the limits? How many times do these people have to shit on your dinner plate, before you get it? It's the medical system. It's everything. Okay,
That's what happens in the fourth turning. Is the trust starts to erode in the former system. And when the trust starts to erode, it happens and it starts to domino. It starts to spiral to where everybody starts to distrust everybody, and everybody starts to distrust the government and the doctors and everything about everything. Let me play.
But the trust is not eroding. They're governments are now gaslighting their own populations.
I know, but see, the people's trust. There used to be trust in the government. There's not in the alternative media community, but there used to be, as the overall population of this world, it trusts the government still. They watch TV. They watch TV. So let's get into this video by this dude with the fourth turning, because I got like a 10-minute video.
And I need to grab some coffee and stuff too.
Yeah, grab some coffee.
I would say before we go into that video, I would like to add this notion to the conversation that what the oligarchs want, right, is for them to be okay and screw everybody else, right? That's all it matters. That's all it matters, right? If they get down to 300 million that they, put there on the Georgia Guidestones, that's what they want, right? But so if it takes a nuclear war to kill 7 billion people, which actually the models don't show that, it's actually less than 1 billion people, But if you do that, right, what they need is a way to ride out that time, those 3 months on the low end of a nuclear winter and 20 years on the high end. And has it ever occurred to anyone? I never seen anybody talk about this. That the move into virtual reality, into this kind of system of a digital reality, is a way to bide that time, right?
Oh,
so
well,
while the world is in a nuclear winter,
I'll tell
those
you what.
who can afford it will be there.
Apple, I sent you guys the here. I'm gonna send you this again. I don't know why I'm doing this. I should have just clicked on it. So Apple iPhone's about to go into people's eyeballs. And
most of them are glasses. But some companies want to take that concept a step further and put the metaverse directly on your eye with something like this. With this electronic contact lens. These are soft contact lenses designed with solid components and circuits into the hydrogel. The idea is the lenses would work with your phone or another dedicated mobile device to show you a heads-up display.
You'll be able to see things such as what is the speed limit on this road, what direction am I heading, the overlay aspect of the metaverse, of the real world. But then there's the immersive aspect where you'll be able to also have display that literally takes over your entire retina in both eyes, as if you had Oculus goggles on. There's a huge market in the very beginning for this device to help people that are going presbyopic with their aging eyes. So you don't have to wear multifocals or readers anymore. You'll be able to have the ability to see close-up items or myopic or presbyopic applications without having to wear any readers or glasses. You'll be able to tune your vision, so to speak, with a mobile device. But when you compare some of the things that have become acceptable in the human body that are electronically based, for instance, pacemakers, other implantable devices, as well as the intraocular lens technology, which replaces for cataract surgery, replaces your entire crystalline lens. There's a lot of things that people are willing to do to improve their visual experience. And I think that once they put on the lenses and they
authors predicted the current crisis we're in, everything from the coronavirus crisis through to the American riots. And in fact, we're only in the first of 5 stages of this crisis. I'm going to go through exactly who predicted this, what these 5 stages are, and how you can go about preparing for the future to ensure that you're ready for what's about to come. So it was actually in the turn of the 1990s that 2 authors, William Strauss and Neil Howe, came up with a book which was called Generations. And after that book, Generations, they came up with this book, which is called The Fourth Turning. The Fourth Turning, an American Prophecy, what the cycles of history tell us about America's next rendezvous with destiny. So what Strauss and Howe basically figured out from their book Generations is that we all go through these big cycles of time. In fact, all of humanity goes through these 18-90-year cycles, which are divided into 4 lifetimes. And in those 4 lifetimes, we effectively go through the same seasons of spring, leading to summer, leading to autumn, leading to winter. And when they wrote the book in the 1990s, we were in what they call the unraveling, which is the autumn season. And they saw, hey, there's a crisis coming, which was the winter season. And it was about time they warned the American public. Now, in the 1990s, when they actually wrote this book, not a lot of people were listening because it was the dot-com boom. Everyone was doing great. And so as a result, it was only a small group of people that actually started taking this seriously. And even for them, this was too far in the future because they were saying that the entire crisis would happen from 2005 to 2025. It was too far in the future for people to even worry too much about this. But now we're in the crisis, and so now it's time to worry. So what can we learn from the book, and what can we learn about the next steps we should take? Strauss and Howe looked at the fourth turning as the end of an entire cycle where everything changed. And so the last 3 turnings we had, well, 300 years ago, it was the American Revolution. The American Revolution was from around 1760s to 1790s. And then 100 years later, it was the American Civil War from about the 1840s to 1850s. And then just 100 years ago, we then had the Spanish flu, the Great Depression, and then from the Great Depression, World War II. Now, if you're thinking these are just authors that just came up with some crazy theory, in fact, they're the same authors that came up with the concept of millennials. In fact, in their book, Millennials Rising, this became a Bible for the marketers of today, where they were showing how every generation has also got an archetype, and every archetype has got a different role at every point in the turning. In their book, The Fourth Turning, this is exactly what they say about each of the 5 different stages, starting with stage 1, the spark. A spark will ignite a new mood. The CDC announces the spread of a new communicable virus. Congress enacts mandatory quarantine measures. Mayors resist. Urban gangs battle suburban militias. Cause mount for the president to declare martial law. So this is actually from the book where they're going through the different scenarios of what's likely to happen, which actually triggers the crisis, which means what you've seen so far is just the beginning. It's not the crisis itself. After the first phase, which is what we're in right now, comes the second stage, which is disruption. This is what they say about what's about to come. The new mood and its jarring new problems will provide a natural endpoint for the unraveling era decline in civic confidence. As the crisis catalyzes these.
This is a real B&H customer story.
Okay, we checked all 4 systems and
The dirty pricks. That snuck in on me. Yeah. So I watched that before and there was no commercial. So they're quick and they wouldn't let me move my mouse to mute it.
These fears will rush to the surface, jagged and exposed. Distrustful of some things, the individuals will feel that their survival requires them to distrust more things. This behavior could cascade into a sudden downward spiral and implosion of societal trust.
Okay, so let me hold it there. Because this is exactly, I mean, the alternative media fuels the distrust. And the fact that there's so much information that's out there now showing how corrupt the government is, that it's this cascading domino effect that spirals out, you know, from the shit that they create, you know. This is a trip, man, because, you know, you think about it, the rebuilding after all these things you just mentioned, it kind of goes with what we've been saying about history being shorter term than what we thought it was, you know.
Downward spiral and implosion of societal trust. So everything we're going through right now is not about virus. Everything we're going through right now is not about the riots in the streets. Everything we're going through is about a breakdown of the trust of the old system in order for a new system to be created, which has happened every single time that there's been a fourth turning. So what about the third stage, which we can expect to see maybe 6 months or even 12 months away from now? The third stage is collapse. At some point, America's short-term crisis psychology will catch up with the long-term post-unraveling fundamentals. This might result in a great devaluation, a severe drop in the market price of most financial and real assets.
Never before in recorded history has debt been so high. Unfortunately, the United States is the largest debtor nation in world history. I don't like saying any of this. I'm an American citizen, voter, taxpayer like you, but it's the highest debt that any nation in the history of the world has ever had. I knew for many years that America was building up its debt. I knew that our politicians were incompetent and out of control, but no, I never expected it to go this high before it collapsed.
As assets devalue, trust will further disintegrate, which will cause assets to devalue further, and so on. Many Americans won't know where their savings are, who their employer is, what their pension is, or how their government works. Before long, America's old civic order will seem ruined beyond repair. People will feel like a magnet has passed over society's disk drive, blanking out the social contract, wiping out old deals, clearing the books of vast unpayable promises to which people have once felt entitled. This was predicted.
See, people do feel the social contract has been violated by this whole thing that's gone on. You know, I mean,
oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I you know, this thing is the fourth turning, Robin. What they're saying is that through a period of time, there's a spring, summer, you know, autumn, fall, you know, and when fall comes, it's the turning. You know, it's the turning of the season, and every time it's been this super massive upheaval, and society is launched into a new paradigm, you know, like the Industrial Revolution, for example, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is that when this turning happens, when we emerge from this, it'll be emerging into the measures that have already been established from this operation that happened with the injectable. All those things that were made acceptable, people were made malleable for, will when we come out of the other side of whatever this collapse is going to be, that's going to be the norm from that point forward. There's going to be a new paradigm, because most of the people that remember what it was like are probably not going to be around, in my opinion. So, and I think it'll be easy to move into that, because anybody born after the year 2000 doesn't know what it's like to be free, because of the measures from the war on terror or whatever. You know, so I don't know, man. I don't know. Here, let me finish this up.
30 years ago by the two of them in the book. And more importantly, what's key is what you do now to prepare, because while a lot of people will be losing their wealth, there'll be others that'll be gaining brand new systems, structures, and even businesses off this crisis as well.
So that's exactly what Epic was saying about putting people into the metaverse through an intense crisis or a period of time where you have to stay because of a nuclear winter or whatever. But, you know, I brought up on the show I was on earlier that, you know, there's been over 288 nuclear explosions in the world. So it's been put forward that there's already been a nuclear war. You know, there's already been a lot of bombs exploded. Obviously, they weren't all happening at the same time. So there was no nuclear winter, but we're all still alive. That shit's flew up into the air or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's not necessarily that we're all going to die if there's a nuclear war, unless we get hit with some of those submarine bombs we were talking about.
What can we tell the poor traumatized folks at home listening to us? What sliver of optimism is there here? This is getting pretty midnight dark.
Well, you know,
it'll get darker.
It's a dark moment in history, man. It's the moment before the turning, bro. I mean, we're shooting.
Yeah,
we're shooting
deep.
people straight. These are like,
look into your hearts.
These are
what
like,
can you say to people?
What I say is turn this shit off, man, and just have it when the flash happens. Just have that moment be the moment, and don't waste another moment thinking about this shit. Because, you know, there's not much you can do at this point. I'll tell you what. You want me to tell you what? You want me to tell you what I'm doing?
Yeah.
I'm not keeping my money in the bank, and I'm buying as much food as I can get when I have the money, because I need stuff that's gonna last, not stuff that spoils in the refrigerator.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to spend my money on food that can sit there and I can ignore it until I need to eat it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So cans of soup go on sale now. I buy a bunch of that shit. You know what I mean? Different stuff. Refried beans.
There's some good soup out there, man.
Dude, refried beans go on sale. Boom. I buy 20 cans of that shit.
How much Dinty Moore beef stew do you have?
I have none. I don't buy that anymore, but I do buy Progresso soups, man, when they go on sale.
Progresso soups are awesome. You know, the thing is, I just need to bring this up for a weird reason. I don't know what that reason really is, except that when you have a big store of food, whether it be canned food or just because you live off the land and have a bunch of stuff that you've jarred yourself, whatever the case may be, your view of your life is much better. Like the sense of food security, just that one little thing can change your worldview in a big way.
Man, if you want to really want to see what shit is like, go watch some there's all kinds of videos on YouTube of dudes that just go out there and subsist off nothing. Fuck, man, I'll even show one tonight, maybe in a little while, because the thing is like, you know, look, I'm somebody who feels like, you know, hey, I can survive or whatever. But when I watch these videos, I realize how even no matter how I think I can survive, how even I'm soft because of my reliance on these prepared foods, no matter how you look at it. When you don't have shit to put on stuff to make it taste good, and you don't have the right way to do stuff and this and that, and you're just on your own in the weeds or whatever trying to survive. You know, you see these dudes and they're in the middle of nowhere and they got nothing. They got to catch a fish. They catch a bunch of fish, but their fish ain't really big enough to eat. But they got to eat something. So
you want to know what two of the best survival guides are?
Hmm.
The Boy Scout Handbook, and there was a series called Firefox back in the mid-'50s. Told you how to live off the land, how to grow your own stuff, how to harvest clean water, all those kind of things. If you have that set of books, you can read it, you might be okay. Tells you how to build shelters and all that stuff, how to keep your area clean, not get contaminated.
I forget what this dude's name is. Yeah, there he is. This is him, man. This fucking
trying to survive off the land.
This fucking guy right here, his name's Ovens. He's a Canadian fucking guy. This dude is fucking gold. So we'll play a little bit of this, but I know you got the reverse perverse.
I do, and it's dark.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, should we?
Oh no, it's not about Jesus.
Well, should we take a look at Oven for a minute before we get dark, just to kind of clear our palates, or should we get dark and then go to Oven after to get our minds off of it? It's up to you. I think our friends here, our 40 buddies that are here, I think they'll appreciate this Oven video. We don't have to watch.
Yeah, roll the video.
We don't have
to get to the darkness in a minute.
Yeah, we don't have to watch the whole thing either. Hang on a second. We don't have to watch the whole thing either. But the point I'm trying to make is there's lots of people thinking, you know, hey, man, I can survive. But, I mean, we're all so soft on prepared foods and shit and just having stuff. I mean, they used to sail around the world and kill people to get spices. You know what I mean? It's like we take shit for granted that, you know, hey, we can just go get a bag of pepper or whatever. We can go get this. We can go get that. But, you know, when you don't have any of that, where does it come from? Where do you get salt from if you're just fucking in the middle of nowhere having to survive? I mean, you don't have a bag of salt. Where are you going to get your salt?
Well, that led to the rise of civilization, literally. The desire for better tasting food. That's no joke. That's exactly the only reason civilization exists as we know it. And the trade routes were created in the first place was for spices and better tasting food. I mean, it's literally just what goes in your belly, right, at that point. And that led to this sophisticated array of things we see today. But if not for the general desire of everyone, planet-wide, every human being, just to want to have something good tasting to eat at the end of the day, that's what led to the rise of civilization. It really is that simple.
I know, and purple, the color purple and purple dye was the most expensive dye that there was, and that's
Made
why
from snails in the Nile River. Yeah,
and that's why it was a royal color, because no one else could afford that purple. Yeah, This is a fascinating video, man. Seriously, I mean, let me see if I go. Let me give it its own screen, so I don't fuck up the bandwidth. Hold on a second. You guys will like this. It's not, I mean, you know, it's kind of like a TV show, right? We're not on the air on the radio, so we don't have to worry that people can't see what I'm showing. So I'm showing it to you guys here now, live, you know. So there's no reason why we can't do this. And the only thing that might happen is while this is on, Bruce McDonald might just go off in the weeds, but just disappear, because he does that sometimes, because it gets late. Are you gonna disappear when oven is on?
No. I'm here for a while. Yeah,
I think you'll like. I think you'll dig oven, man. This is a good video.
Okay.
High def. Here, let me check it.
But we can't watch along on Skype here.
You can't watch on Skype unless I share my screen with you, which I can do. If you give me a moment, won't you?
Why not? Yeah.
Okay. Here, let me just get it ready for the people over here. The important people. Here we go. Hang on a second. Shh. All right, so we're going to be in the Canadian Rockies. So this is a 30-day challenge. All right? Him and this other dude have to go with nothing and go up there and get something. All right? All right, so now let me go back to Skype. Let me go back to the call. Let me share screen. Start sharing. Okay, do you see that?
Yes.
Okay.
You're good, man. You're good. You did it.
Folks. All right. Here we go. Oven. This dude's name is Oven, and you can find him on YouTube. His channel is called Oven's Rocky Mountain Bushcraft. I watch a lot of this dude's videos because this dude, you watch one of these videos, you get in a situation, all you do is remember this video. Let me tell you something, man. This Oven dude.
Yeah.
This fucking dude, man, he knows how to catch fish. And when I was living in Colorado, you know, I used to spend a lot of time because the river system up there is really good for fly fishing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a river called the Crystal River, and they got fly fishers. They come there from around the world to fly fish there. But that's when I noticed fly fishing. The way that it was is that these dudes developed this skill where they could flick the line into the water and make it jump on the top of the water right in front of a fish's face to make it go at it, you know? And it's like this. It's like if you think billiards is like finesse, you know, if you think you got to be a badass and finesse with billiards, man, this fishing and attracting a fish, they don't have bait, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? They're making a flicking of this line that goes out like 20, 30 feet. You know what I mean? It's amazing. Yeah. It's fucking amazing. Seriously. Even if you see, it's just like this thing. It's like casting a line or a fly fishing pole, is a really intense skill. You could just do it in your backyard. You don't even have to try to catch fish. You could just learn how to throw that line. It's the same thing as shooting an arrow. It's the same kind of a skill. In other words, if you can be a good fly fisherman, chances are you're going to be good with a bow and arrow too. So these skills, they translate into each other. It's the rudiments of the hand-eye coordination and the I mean, I just fucking, it's amazing, man. It's amazing.
All right, we are here at our destination. Oh, I see the fish.
Yeah, you can see them right in the
I see a little fish. There is like fingerlings.
Yeah. Well, they're like 6 to 8 inches long, but they're easy to catch.
Nice.
Well, see. Got one.
Ah.
Oh, no, he's not. No, I got him.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, I saw it.
Well, that's one. Maybe I'll have 3 before you get back. Isn't it a contest of 3?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look at that!
Oh!
A blooper!
That's the biggest thing that I've noticed out of all these people when they go and they figure out, hey, Pale Horse, what's up? When they go and they figure out a way to fish, and they sit there and they're fucking starving, and they figured out this way to fish, but it's not a perfect way, but they figured out a way. Every single time they catch a fish, the first couple times, they lose the fish. The one thing they don't have that they all need is a net. They don't have nets to stick under the thing when they pull the fish out of the water and the fish falls off the hook. It almost happens every time, man. It's a trip. All right, here we go.
Oh, come on. Yeah, I got one that time. One this size, I'm going to let him go. He's not very big at all. Got another one. I'm getting hungry, so I'll keep this guy. Oh. It's the third one I've got, but I'll let the other 2 go, but kind of getting hungry, so gotta keep it. It's just a little pan fry, but one more like that, at least I don't go to bed hungry. We've already let 2 go, so can't just keep letting them go or I'll go hungry. But
Got my first one here in Canada. About the size of a dollar bill. Oh, got a second one, but I'm gonna let him go. He's kind of tiny. There you go, buddy. Oh, that's it. Four little fish.
so I'm going to attempt to start a fire with a wazoo necklace. But it basically has a little striker and ferrocerium, a little piece of ferro rod right here. But I'm going to zoom in on the fire here and attempt to make a fire with this. The first fire of our 30-day survival challenge, me and Zach. He's down fishing right now, but I figured I'd try to get the fire going. There you go. Wazoo fire starter.
Wazoo.
Both Zach and I caught 4 each. They're just little guys. He's setting up our bedding for the night because it looks like it's going to rain. So that's the good thing about having a partner with you when you're doing these kind of adventures too, because one guy can do one thing, another guy can do the other thing. Some of these fish are pretty tiny, but I'll tell you, in a survival situation, you wouldn't care. Well, I mean, we got 8. We caught more than that. You let some go. Well, your idea is probably better because mine usually fall on the rocks and then I pick them up and get burnt. Perfect. Yeah, I could probably eat them raw, but I prefer them cooked.
All right.
So see what I'm saying, man? I mean, yeah, you got some fish there or whatever, but he's cooking them sitting there on a stick. And man, I mean, they just eat those fish. You know what I mean? I mean, you guys will see what they do. This dude, Oven, he knows every fucking plant on the face of the Canadian earth, man. This dude knows every single weed and everything you can eat, but I mean, are you a salad eater? You know, are you somebody that enjoys like lettuce and all this different shit? Because if you are, I mean, even that certain stuff, if you put it in there, it tastes bitter and shit like that. It's really good for you. I mean, do you like kale? I mean, do you like drinking wheatgrass juice or whatever? I mean, it's really good for you, but
Dandelion is good.
that's what I mean. It's good for you, but how
Bitter,
does it,
but it's good.
yeah, how does it taste? That's the thing, is we're all like so used to shit tasting a certain way or things being a certain way, like you know, served up on a plate or whatever. But here you're having to just cook and you have nothing. You know, got a stick, you know, and some fire or whatever. You know what I mean? So, you know, and they eat the guts and everything. And it's coming up here. I think you know, they find some other stuff to eat, and I don't think people would eat it or, you know, consider even eating it. But these dudes eat it because they have to, because they got nothing. And that's the thing, is what we're talking about, is if you're in a situation and you don't have anything and you got to survive.
If you're hungry enough, you'll eat a cricket.
Yeah, well, these dudes, I don't think these guys go as far as eating crickets, man, but check this shit out, man. These guys are cool. I don't really dig the red-haired guy. He's a good dude as far as getting shit together for Oven. Look at that shit.
Well, things happen in fishing. I got another one. There we go. They're not huge, but it's a brookie. Oh, the morning fish. I'm gonna make a smoker.
Get on.
He's gonna make a smoker real quick.
Oh, that's the ticket. Worms for the win. One more for the smoking. Not a bad looking fish. They are beautiful. Too bad they're so tiny in here.
This is maple. I like maple for certain things. As long as the fire's not too big. My coat's wet anyways, so I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I can smoke my fish and dry my coat. I don't want my coat to catch on fire because I need it, but if my fire's not too hot, that'll work just fine. So, we got our limit of fish smoking. Somebody has to babysit them a bit though, so I'm gonna have to make sure that we're getting the smoke proper heat for a while. Can always restart over again tomorrow if they're not done.
Hey, shit enough, Rocky. So what are you guys thinking? Here, let me stop it.
Well, man, that's a pretty classy operation guys got there in the bush.
Yeah, well, he hasn't. They haven't even gotten started yet, man. They're actually gonna build some shit. They're really gonna get. They're gonna get intense, and they're actually gonna hike I'll put the link in here so you can watch the whole thing, because this thing's way too long for us to watch. So, but I'll skip ahead and stuff. I can jump around. Jump around. Suzuki Samurai. That shit was funny when we were talking about your samurai. I played that song.
Don't even get me started on that.
Now, let's go to day 3 with Oven and the red-haired stepchild. I don't know what this other guy's name is. Here he comes.
Dry out?
Well, the coat's dry, but fish are pretty much done too, I think. They
Oh, yeah?
get longer.
Take advantage of that piece of tuna. Oh, yeah. They look just like these most delicious smoked yummy treats.
All the moisture we got overnight, that's these clouds around us, but it's bright in so many spots, I think, that it's blue sky above. It just has to burn off. 'Cause
Awesome.
It's still pretty early, so.
All right.
Our little trout are finally ready, smoked all night. And we haven't really had any, well, we haven't had any plants yet. We nibbled on a little bit of strawberry blight. Strawberry tasting little berry heads on it. This is a plant that up here you don't see too often. Strawberry blight. And it's very tasty. I haven't seen a big one like this for a while. Those aren't bad, eh?
It's very mellow.
Yeah, very good for you as well, but we have to start and collect some plants and get some bigger fish because it's going to be 30 days, so we have to start eating some plants or we're going to suffer for it. Not sure if they're done, but if they're not, we'll just put them closer to the fire for a while. Well,
I mean, you got to
even
pop
the
up
oils are
there.
coming out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know, I mean,
They need a
sat
toasting.
a couple hours.
Where's my toasting stick? There we go. Got my toasting stick. I want to eat it right from the head to the tail. The only thing that'll be left is that little bit of spinal cord. Oh yeah, she's done. See the color of that meat? It's so orange. That's all that's left of her.
So I brought Zach here to this other little lake I know. A lot of locals do come here. As a matter of fact, somebody's even left a boat here. Now
we're off.
Oh yeah, they're jumping everywhere. We'll get our limit, then we can go and get plants. Eh?
Isn't this nice to come all the way up here and he chauffeurs me all around?
Love fishing. Right away, second cast. Oh, I had a bite already. Got one. It's a little better than those minnows.
Hey! Yep.
Ow! He pulled the hook through my hand.
Beautiful fish.
That's a nice pan fry, and see how silver they are?
man.
So, we get our limit of these, we're styling.
Stole my worm.
So there they go, man. They fished like a wild man. Here, let me fast forward. So what are you saying, Epic? You saying that's the natural life? That's how we living? That's how we should be living? Okay.
Just so, it's so far.
Sorry, it's getting closer.
I can hear the waterfall.
It's a long hike.
It is.
I told you. Well, we're more than 3/4 of the way. It hasn't been the hard part yet. The steep part is going straight up rock slides like in behind where I am. It's this way, we can't quite see it yet, but when we get to the waterfall, I'll show you the rock slide that we have to go up. It's just brutal. But we really want to get there because it's just 300 feet up that rock slide is our lakes. So, and I know the fishing will be good, so at least you get to see our outdoor survival skills because this is real. More moss still. You see, you should layer it like this so that the bottom one, the top one, goes over top, just like shingles. It's the way you want to do it. Heat up some hot rocks. This one here is pretty warm. I could bring it inside to keep warm if I have to, like a hot water bottle.
A few people know that turmeric with honey is the most effective antibiotic you'll ever consume.
Did you know? Did you know that the?
Sweet Jesus.
Did you know the speaker to mute disappears when that happens to me? They know that commercial's running.
You actually want to know something?
Yeah.
The commercial that just ran is a lie. Honey is not the most potent antibiotic you can consume because once you consume it and it goes down your throat, it's no longer, it loses all its antibacterial properties. It's only antibacterial on the outside of your body.
There you go. Rockin' Rio comes to the rescue like Johnny on the spot. Now look.
Hey, should we flag them for false advertising?
Misinformation.
Give them a strike.
Misinformation?
Give them a strike, yeah.
Yeah. Fucking. Yeah. So we got 52.
Actually, that's medical misinformation.
Yeah, there you go. Well, we have friends. 52 of them are here with us. So we're taking a look. If you just joined us, this is Oven. You can find him over there on YouTube here. Oven's 30-Day Survival Challenge, the movie. This is 2 hours long. We're not going to see 2 hours. We're just kind of skipping around. Oven's Rocky Mountain Bushcraft is what this is called. You watch this guy. I mean, I've watched hundreds of hours of shit just like this. So, I mean, to me, there's no question of whether or not I could perform what we're seeing here. But some of these ideas that people come up with that you never thought of. One of the things I noticed that was really cool. Hey, Pac, what's up? One of the things I noticed was people making shelters out of cellophane. Like people getting these big rolls of plastic. And they put, they get some sticks like that, and they put them sort of into like a teepee looking thing, and they start wrapping that bitch with that plastic, and it's totally waterproof. It's like and you know, they cut a hole for a door, cut a hole for a pipe, and they just fucking run a pipe up and have a little wood stove in there, man, that you carry by hand. Just carry a roll of wood stove, an axe, you know. The axe is a very important tool to have, man. If you have an axe, you're almost golden, man. Wait till you see what Homeboy does with his shit. One axe and one knife. See, they gotta stay the night up there, and they don't have nothing. So what he's doing is he's heating up on these fires. He's heating up rocks, and he made that shelter. So he's gonna take these rocks and get them in there, and then he's gonna sleep on these rocks to keep warm.
Those taste really different from the other ones.
They do. Every species tastes different. I don't know. The rainbows and the cutties are my favorite, I think.
Yeah. Yep. They're good.
Yeah. But now I feel a little better. Got a spot to hide out of the rain if I have to. Zach's building a shelter over there as well. So we really did not plan on this situation. It just was too far and too difficult. Neither one of us had the energy to even go back. And we didn't bring anything with us, really. But we will make it. This is what we do.
So like you're up there where they are right now. They don't ever have to come out of there at this point. I mean, they could literally, once they've established themselves there, you know, they've filled their bellies, they've made their shelter for a night, they've made it overnight, they can survive. Now they can continue to build something there. There's nobody else there. Look at this place.
He's alive.
Barely.
Barely. Hurting?
Oh, yeah.
Still got the fire going?
Well, I didn't even sleep. I just
kind of
been just trying to keep warm.
Yeah.
Sucks. So, that was a terrible night. Sat by the fire all night. Didn't get any sleep. I didn't have to use the shelter, though, because the stars were out and it didn't rain, so that was good. But otherwise, didn't get any sleep. Basically heated up rocks to put in my pockets. Just kept the fire going all night, and I tried dozing off, but it wasn't comfortable enough to get any sleep. So we're gonna try to head back to the other camp. That's enough of this hike in lake. It was a brutal experience, but it's an interesting experience too. There's the mountain goats anyways. Can't really see much of them, but
look at how far away they are and how crazy up on that cliff they are.
For casting, is I pull it this way, and then it free reels, and then I
Bridge come down from that tree corner to right here, pointing.
Yeah,
Watch where you're pointing that thing.
Pointing with this.
Greg just saw a cougar.
Came down the trail and past camp and down.
Do 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 do. Scooby
Down through this other trail right over here, but cougars are elusive. I just caught a little bit of a glimpse, maybe 2 or 3.
Cougars are elusive. What the fuck is that?
It seems like our smoker's caught on fire.
All right. It's got little spruce needles all over it. Oh. They bring almost like this, like a spruce rosemary thing going on. Very good. And then look at that.
That is
See,
good.
they cooked it with the eggs inside of it.
The spice. I love the spice.
The spruce was a good idea.
Almost backfired on us as the smoker caught on fire, but it finished smoke cooking the whole fish just before.
Just before the kitchen caught on fire.
Yeah, just before the kitchen caught on fire.
Well, we definitely would have lost this fish without that net, because it came off as soon as we got it in the net.
Well, that's one of the things, watching Alone and watching these other guys, one after the next, people at some point pulling their fish out and losing them right on the shore. I'm like, oh my goodness. You know, it's like, what else you got to do in the evening? Why not build a net?
We're living off the land for the last 20 days now. Well, if we don't have these fish, you got no energy. And we've been sitting in the rain for a week, getting wet, drying clothes constantly. So it just wore us out too. Look at the eggs in this thing. They're just spewing out.
Damn.
Unbelievable. But I don't really have any way of keeping them. I'd like to, but they're just falling all over the place. Look at my hair here. I'm starting to look like Robert Plant off of Led Zeppelin. Time to get a haircut. Yeah, don't want to wrap it in there. Very toxic. Very poisonous plant. A few feet of line. I've got these tiny hooks. hard to get this hook through. See that? Oh, it's working. So, I mean, if you get an injury in the bush, you can sew yourself up like this too. If you have fishing line and a hook and you have a very serious injury that's absolutely bleeding out, then you do this. Just like that. On the mountains in the back there. That's all from all the rain we've been having. Has been snow up high. Well, I think it's time to try my homemade fishing rod. Every one of these fish we've caught in here has had shrimp in them. They're just little. Are they dead already? No, whatever. I don't think this is going to cast very good. Cast backwards.
Damn. Look at that shit.
Those are nice fish.
Those are some fish.
Keep them in the smoker for the night.
Alright, so look at this place they built. Look at this place they built. Hold on. Here we go.
Quite the mono diet there, that off-grid living, Jimmy.
I know. Check this out. Check this place out that they build, man.
There we go.
See, I noticed this dude, he has this technique where he, with the one hand, he's holding the handle of the reel, but every time he casts it, he doesn't like whip the rod. He gently pushes the rod with his other hand in the direction that he needs it to go, right in the right place on the fiberglass of the rod, so it kind of throws his cast out to where he wants it to go. It's interesting. Here, check him out. Check out his style. Watch the second hand, the hand that's not on the rod. He's actually casting with that hand.
Kind of pornographic, Jimmy.
Check it out, man. I'm serious. Check the hand. I'm serious. Let me go back so you can see the hand. That's actually really good antibiotics right there that he has hanging down off his chin.
Cleaned up a bit. Have a shave, maybe. You know. On the way to the lake. Fish from the raft, at least. Even if I don't take it for a voyage. What's the chances first cast? We'll see.
The second hand.
Yesterday I got that one on the first cast.
That's key, man.
You can't get them every cast.
Alright, watch this shit. You see it? How he throws it? He throws the rod with his other hand.
There we go.
You guys get what I say when he's throwing it? He's perfected a method of using his hand and pointing his finger on that rod and snapping the rod, and when he snaps the rod where he points his finger is exactly where that fucker lands. I guarantee it, man. He like goes whoosh, with his hand. Here, I forgot I'm not on camera here. He goes like this. Whoosh, whoosh, with his finger, and he snaps the rod just right. That's how this fucker catches fish almost every time he casts, man. Check this shit out. Shit, epic, man. Have you ever fished from the shore with a fishing pole? in the ocean, or you, Bruce, or you, Rio? Any of you guys ever fish like in the ocean?
No.
Yeah, yes, I have a lot actually, and I'll tell you what. I mean, it's in the retrospect, as a spearfisherman now, like that's what I do now is spearfish. I still go out like on boats occasionally, or used to before the pandemic, to go, try to get tuna and things like that. But no, it's something that is amazing that it even works. Actually, I mean, it really is. When you're in the environment with those animals and you can see how they live and what they do and all that stuff, the fact that a fishing pole even works at all is kind of amazing, right? But it's gotten us by for thousands of years, literally.
Man, give a man a fish. You know what I'm saying?
Big ceremony.
But look at this place they built, man, out of nothing. Check this out.
Like, just like, I'm done. Stick a fork in me. It's been fun.
It's been good.
But I'm done.
30 days seems like a long time when you're out trying to live off the land.
I did find us some breakfast.
What?
There you go.
Dude, 30 days, okay, of that. Imagine 70 years of that. Imagine,
I have a story to tell.
Okay,
actually,
imagine. I'm just saying. Imagine being alive in modern society. Our lifespan is way longer because of the way we live. So let's say once you've built your shelter or whatever and all this, you got nothing else to do the rest of your life except that. That's what it is. Just every day, just getting your food or getting your water. Doing what you do, have to gather shit or whatever. I mean, even though you don't work 8 hours a day at a job, you're gonna work 8 hours a day fucking doing all this shit. So there ain't no free rides, I mean, you're still gonna have to work, but you're not gonna be working.
It's hard. It's hard work. Yeah, it's your whole life.
That's
right?
what I mean.
So I mean, the story I have to tell is I've lived off the land, which is one thing. But I did it spearing fish and picking mangoes and that kind of thing in Hawaii. It's a little bit different to what my uncle did. My uncle did this thing back in the 70s, and this is a story I want to tell. It's that he got accused of being a weed seller back in the 1970s, right? When that was like a felony, right? And so he actually, Grizzly Adams style, fled into the wilderness of the Idaho primitive area to avoid prosecution in California. And because they were after him, right? This is a real thing. Back in the 70s, people who lived in that time might know this is how it was. And so he fled to the Idaho primitive area, and he lived off the land, literally fishing and out there, gathering herbs and all that kind of thing on horseback for years, right? And he came back briefly in the winter, and then he did it again a couple years later until finally the warrants were, not valid anymore. But the thing is, he didn't do anything. He was a musician. All he did was be a musician. I mean, we talk about the 70s and the 60s so much about how, the Manson era and about how we do all these, the Howlers of the Grateful Dead and the psyops were put upon us in that time. But he was just a musician playing the house bands in San Diego at the time and got accused of stuff. And so he fled every bit the role of what you imagined Grizzly Adams was, out into the Idaho primitive area to avoid being prosecuted, and lived off the land. And what happened was he ended up really liking it at a certain point. It was hard the first year, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then the second year he went back, he rented a cabin. It was a log cabin out in the woods for that duration, and did it again and stayed the whole year. Like the first time he came back in the winter. But what we're watching these guys do with their fish out there and living off the land with their fishing poles, he did that every day. The whole thing was just going campsite to campsite, following the food basically, in that hunter-gatherer existence. And what he told me, and what I've always taken to heart, and what I've experienced myself is, this is actually the way we're meant to live. We're meant to live like that. We're wired for that. That is what we're wired to do. It's
like Thoreau or whatever, man. It's like. I'm serious. I mean, what Bruce has said, for a long period of time, and it's that you can survive in these autonomous communities, man. And the only time to do it is now, because in the future it's probably not going to be as possible as it is now. You know, if it's even really possible at this point. So, hey, I want to make a good movie recommendation to everybody. This is like, you know, obviously an older movie, so you can find this probably on YouTube for like $1.99 or probably free maybe. This movie is called Last of the Dogmen, and it reminded me what you were just saying, Epic. Reminded me of this movie, your uncle's story, or your uncle.
Yeah, we had it at the video store. Yeah.
Well, here, everybody, check this out, and then when we come back, we'll do the reverse perverse with Rock and Rio. Are you ready, Rock and Rio?
I am.
Excellent. Last of the Dogmen.
You boys have any luck?
Does the phrase needle in a haystack ring a bell?
Try down there by Buck Creek. They might have got that farm.
Busload of state prisoners went off the highway last night. 3 escaped.
I'm telling you what I told your deputy, not interested.
I need you on this one. Drunk or sober, you're still the best tracker in the state. Somebody's out there.
Who are you?
A man faced with a mystery.
They're dead. All of them? No bodies, nothing.
And a woman searching for the past.
Where'd you find this?
In the oxbow. Somebody got to those men before I did. There was blood everywhere in that.
Are about to uncover a secret hidden for 130 years.
Whoa! No!
My God. Don't move.
Does breathing count?
Unbelievable. The Miss Margar Cheyenne.
We can't let anything happen to these people. No one must ever find out.
All right, man, let's move out.
Damn him.
How much time do we have?
Half a day, maybe less.
The Yellow Wolf said they should stay and fight.
They'll get slaughtered.
Cheyenne or the troopers?
Tom Berenger. Barbara Hershey. Last of the Dogmen.
Man, that's a good movie. This tribe is living up in the Oxbow, in Montana. And there's this one place where they come out. It's like this secret entrance to this fucking whole thing that's going on. They're existing as though they did in the past, you know, still. Fucking, it's really, it's a great movie, man. Highly recommend it. Check it out. I mean, it's got a love story aspect to it and all that, you know. It's a whole thing, you know. All right, hold on. Let's get it together because Rock and Rio is coming up next with the reverse perverse. So Rock and Rio, you're ready. Epic Journeyman, you're there. Is Bruce still here?
I think Bruce boned.
Bruce boned out. That's what I figured.
Well, it's 2 o'clock, so it's about his normal exit stage left time.
I'm here. I was getting coffee.
No worries. So here, hang on a second. Let me get this ready here.
Besides, I think he likes to avoid the creepiness.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Well,
I want to add something to my story about my uncle.
Okay,
the
go
day
ahead.
before he went and lived in for almost a year in the Idaho primitive area by himself off the land.
Right.
What he did was the night he left, he watched 2 movies, the movie Grizzly and Day of the Animals. you know, so
Did you ever
people
see?
who aren't around from the 70s don't know what those movies are.
Did you ever see the movie The White Buffalo?
Hilarious. Yes, I did.
Hilarious.
He speaks you the truth.
It's hard
Right?
with Charles Bronson.
Charles Bronson, yes, and Chief Dan George. I'm a big Chief Dan George fan, by the way. But yeah, you know, because people know him from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but Chief Dan George is freaking awesome. But yeah, that movie, he speaks you the truth. He has this whole thing, and it tells you about how it's going down and the White Buffalo. But the reason it's hilarious is
the world with Bingo Blitz.
Jesus. What? I'm sorry.
The animatronics they used, right, where the buffalo goes flying through the teepees and stuff and goring people along the way. I mean, the animatronics are ridiculous. That's why it's funny. The premise isn't funny, but those scenes are pretty funny.
I mean, I thought it was a good movie.
It is a good movie.
Like
It is a good movie. The premise is great.
Man's journey to find himself, man. Just kind of like Billy Jock.
Hey, Indian Chief. So special, so above the law. You think you can do just as you please. I told you you'd make a mistake and I'd be waiting.
Watch his feet, man. He can kill you with his feet.
He can do anything he wants with his feet. Really think those Green Beret karate tricks gonna help you against all these boys? Well, it doesn't look to me like I really have any choice, now does it? That's right, you don't. You know what I think I'm gonna do then? Just for the hell of it. Tell me. I'm gonna take this right foot, and I'm gonna whop you on that side of your...
I'm getting busted, man.
Uh-huh.
I got caught, so I got to stop that thing. Rock and Rio, are you ready to shout at the devil?
Yeah.
All right. Well, here he is, ladies and gentlemen. You've been waiting for him all night long. The audience has reached its peak. There's 58 friends here tonight.
Yeah.
Rock and Rio. So Let me give you the floor. Are you coming on camera?
No.
Oh, you're staying off camera.
I always stay off camera.
You're weak. You're weak. You got to get on here, man. Don't make me be the face of Into the Microcosm. I'm the one who gets blamed for everything.
Well, it's,
All right. There you go. So we're going to talk about the State of the Union address tonight.
Sir.
All right, man. Well, we're looking forward to it. Jeffrey has put the devil in the chat room. Johnny's list got a white heart in there. Everybody's ready to go. So let us go.
All right. So obviously the State of the Union address, big deal, right? Just another demonic spewing from Uncle Joe, pretty much. From start to finish, it's he's in his senility and his forward sloppiness. He's actually getting worse or harder to hear a little bit in reverse as well. Like he's just being less and less coherent. But there are some very tasty morsels in the State of the Union address, which of course was a prepared speech. So I'm sure they had time to figure out a few things. And it's not what you'd think. It's got nothing to do with Russia. It's got nothing to do with China, or very little to do with the needle in the arm, although it does get brought up at some point. What he's talking about in reverse is of apocalyptic biblical proportions, and it just gets darker and darker every week. Like we did him, but about 2 weeks ago, I think we did, and it was, I think you told me it was the most evil thing you'd ever heard him say. Well, it gets more evil than that as we continue on into the madness that is our president. So I'm going to start with right around the, 35, right about the 13-minute mark, and go backwards from there. So he says, now I did this quick, so I may be slightly off in what I've written down, but it'll be very close. It says, for demonic are you, we would bend the earth, deny the Christian. We set up the New World Order where we can deny the Christian. Lucifer is the boss, and the other spirits cast it. Lost are you, say you'll serve them. All right, so here we go. I'm going to do this kind of slow, at a slower rate than normal, because he's getting harder and harder to hear in reverse. So I'm going to do this at about 70%. So it'll say, for demonic are you, would bend the earth, deny the Christian.
For demonic are you, would the earth, deny the Christian.
It says, we set up the New World Order where we can deny the Christian. Lucifer is the boss, and the other spirits cast it. Lost are you, say you'll serve them.
Lost are you, say you'll serve them.
It says, I'll loose this, and the shamed sun will make me grow what's growing inside. Here the mark grows this, the lemon of the year, the bad servant.
I'll loose the Jensen will make me grow what's growing inside.
So, and the shamed sun will make me grow what's growing inside. Here the mark grows this, the lemon of the year, the bad servant.
The mark grows, yes, the lemon of the year, the bad servant.
Say you don't fear the marks, of this shall reverse you.
Say you don't fear the marks, of this shall reverse you.
They all fear the lost demon. Ask me.
They'll fear the lost demon, ask me.
So, he's talking about the mark growing. Don't fear the mark, will reverse you. Deny the Christians. Lucifer is now the boss. He's getting to a thing. So I'm gonna jump up to the next section over here, because there's a bunch of applause and nonsense in there. Okay, so this is going to be Master who looks. Ruthless are the Maguses who are of the old law, and the old law is a memory. Oh wait, no, that's not yet. It's and we serve this crime. It is the crime of the masters. No bosses live in heaven. They shall send us a mutant. Sad Vax has no honor. Loose this, it's their law.
And I speak several times, but I serve no boss.
Okay, that was a little fast, but that was as we serve the crime. If the crime of the masters, no bosses live in heaven. I'll do that again, it's a little slower.
The benefit of the top 1% of Americans. The American Rescue Plan. And I speak several times, but I serve no boss.
They shall send us a mutant. Sad Vax has no honor. Lose this, it's their law. We're near with a little assist, hoping with vagueness. This we're near with a little assist, hoping with vagueness. This denies its names in it. So they shall not find the soul. We took it. And I think that's saying that, it denies the name of it. It's Christ denying the name of the people who are marked is, I think, what the reference is there. It denies names in it. So they shall not find the soul. We took it. This is Master who looks. Ruthless are the Maguses who are of the old law, and the old law is a memory.
Did you said magus because a magus is somebody who can change the world with a word. And,
yeah, the line is Master who looks ruthless. Master who looks ruthless are the Maguses who are of the old law.
Dude,
and the old law is a memory.
I can't believe he says that because I asked Leo Zagami when he was on our show one time if he was a magus, and he said he was. So it's an interesting thing to say in reverse, because the people that are maguses would be people that would hear stuff in reverse. But go ahead.
All right, it says, "O Master, now loose this one. See the crime of this villain was nasty. Must unveil the demonic entity into the world." Oh, Master must loose this one. See the crime of the villain was nasty. All right, and it must unveil the demonic entity into the world. So I'm going to jump to the next one here. This is a short one. It says, yeah, for residents, chances great they will all lose. We're thrilled with the crime in it. Yeah, I must kill you.
Yeah, for residents, chances great they will all lose. We're thrilled with the crime in it.
We're thrilled with the crime in it. And here's the, yeah, I must kill you.
Yeah, I must kill you.
And everybody applauds. Yeah, I must kill you. And they all cheer and applaud. We get up to the next line here.
What happened?
All right, so this one is going to be America will be the crow to suggest their madness. A show written of evil, all will know this dark stone. See this and hear the lie, you're all beasts, but normally no issue. So we offer you Rome, boy, we offer you Rome. It's a shame there's a demon on me, but it's not really an issue. All right, America will be the crow to suggest their madness.
Yeah, it'll be the crow to suggest their madness.
A show written of evil, all will know this dark stone.
A show written of evil when there's dark stone.
See this and hear the lie, you're all beasts, but normally no issue.
See this and hear that girl, but normally no issue.
So we offer you Rome. It says that twice.
So we offer you Rome. We offer you Rome.
It's a shame there's a demon on me. Not really an issue.
It's a shame there's a demon on me. It's not an issue.
He'll loose the disease that we bet on. This bad system, yes, it's the law. In the lie, we will be performers.
Well, is this no we bet on? Yes, this no. Yes, this law will not be performers. Terrorist.
Okay, you'll all be performers. Deceived them must he cast, and it's the law. And he cast in the stone, and it's the law. And there's a little bit of applause in there.
Must he cast in the stone? He cast in the stone. In the stone.
And it's the law. All right, and then he'll say, the knights are with the servant. Make you worship the fallen on the earth. The olds rule, and this race will channel.
Her north saw with the servant. He was our fellow American arrows loose.
So now he's telling us he's going to make you worship the fallen that are on the earth, the fallen angels, and the olds rule, also known as the old ones, right? And this race will channel. So they're gonna be channels for the spirits that fell from heaven. Isn't that a lovely thought? And give me a second here. I got to jump up to the next section a little bit. All right, and you guys have any comments on any of this? I guess not.
I'm muted. Sorry. I was involved in the chat here. Yeah. Well. One of the things that's always bothered me about the players in the world stage is just how adept they are at reverse speech. I mean, Kamala Harris. We talk about the Democrats in this case, and Joe Biden are really good at it. Right, they're really good at it. But so is Donald Trump. I mean, Donald Trump had these amazing things in reverse, talking about the pharmaceutical companies, talking about Eli Lilly and all these things. I mean, it's just one of those things that when you look at it in this kind of perspective, when you're not being politically biased, just looking at it, well, they're doing something for the people who are in the know among them, right? Like, in other words, it's not meant for you and I to know. Like, we just somehow stumbled onto it, right? But it's not meant for us. It's meant for the people, in the know to look at and dissect. It's a message to them.
It is, but it's it's almost like it is a message to the people, because he's saying, we'll make you worship. I mean, the knights are the servant. We'll make you worship the fallen on the earth. Right? I mean, come on now. That's like
that's crazy.
They're telling
the
us that what they want us to do.
Aspect, right? Like the apocalyptic aspect of this, like how it's trying to shoehorn itself, for lack of a better word, into biblical prophecy or jihadist prophecy or whatever it might be in religions around the world. It's trying to. So I often use the word bird box.
Is your side.
Yeah, bird box, right? Like how people see something. The movie Bird Box is not a great movie, but the premise behind it is. The idea is people see something and then they can't unsee it and they kill themselves rather than deal with it. And those who don't kill themselves become, warriors essentially for that thing that was planted in their brain. So this is what we're dealing with. Mimetic engineering isn't what people think it is. Like they think it's just like these cat videos or something. They think it's something that's just you can ignore. It's not like that at all. The fact is, once it gets in your mind like a mind worm, it stays there. And once it stays there, you have this whole mindset that's implanted in you that is not even your own, but you think it is. And that's what we're dealing with. This is modern warfare in the 21st century. This is what it is, and people need to understand it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
That's kind of how I look at, like, when they're talking stuff like this, and they're telling you that what they're going to do to you, and you will fall down and worship, and the old law is just a memory, and they're talking about this stuff. It is of biblical apocalyptic stuff. It's programming, right? I mean, this isn't like Donald Trump telling Mike Pence something in secret in reverse that they're trying to communicate, or talking from one world leader to the other trying to pass a secret message. This is like pretty much what they use music for, with psychological warfare and programming the mind, and getting you to buy into their evil, I guess is the best way to say it. I mean, they come right out and say they're evil, and it's a show written of evil. They're telling you to see this, hear the lies. They're trying. They're even telling you, like, if you're paying attention to this, this is our plan. It's but the last couple times I've done Joe Biden, it's like been a spiral downward into deeper and darker each time. And this is getting like really, really deep into the evil now. Like, he's not just talking about poisoning people or marking people with the jab.
And the other thing is
maybe he's picking a fight with somebody. Now he's talking about, like, you will bow down and worship the beast, or else.
The other thing is that I noticed that what he was talking about in that piece that you played forward, he was talking about the middle class and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
If he wasn't talking about the war during this part of it, it's because he wasn't talking about any of the war shit then. He's talking about war stuff, like maybe even earlier, like so because he talked about it right off the bat.
He was talking about Putin and stuff here in this section.
Is he talking about it? Is he saying he's not going to let planes fly in American airspace or some shit?
Yeah, he's talking about all that stuff.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is
some of these actually. If you play the forward, it almost correlates a little bit to what he's saying in reverse, but not. It's not super congruent, but the hints are there.
It's intense, man. It just gets more and more intense, and it's clear that we're going someplace, and lots of people know that what's about to happen. So those people, I mean, haven't you guys noticed this? There's been a missing. All the A-list celebrities are basically missing. It's like, where are they?
They're all hiding in the mountains.
They're somewhere.
Well, no. There's something to this. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that is absolutely something that I think everyone should be paying more attention to. Where I mean, other than the traumatized Sean Penn out there talking yesterday, what is there? Like, where are these supposed
there's no
stand-up people and these stars that try to sway public opinion at this moment? They're freaking down in
haven't heard De
bunkers,
Niro
man.
running his mouth
Where are
lately,
they?
right?
They're bunkers, right? I mean, I'm telling you right now, this is not. You know, here's the thing that I think everybody needs to understand. I spent freaking decades being a Cold War warrior, right? That's what I did. I mean, that was my job, right? And the thing is that we always thought of nuclear war as an unthinkable thing. It would never happen, right? Because you had our side, mutually assured destruction. They called it the MAD policy, MAD, right? And it would never happen. Even though we would push the edge just a little bit, nobody ever thought it would ever happen. But now you have one guy with his finger on the button in the form of Vladimir Putin. Before it was a Politburo. There was somebody who could stop it. There's people around the Politburo in Russia, and there's people here, to keep a president from going rogue. You always had that kind of thing. Those guardrails are gone right now. This is more dangerous than the Cuban Missile Crisis by far, because it literally is just the whim of one person. I mean, I don't know if people appreciate just how dangerous this really is, the situation we are living in right now. I'm glad I am where I am, but it's going to be war. It is. Unless we eliminate Putin, there's no way that this isn't going to be global warfare. It's going to be World War III. It is. Absolutely. We are at that brink.
Well, from what I see, it's already started because, once they get Ukraine, and they have open access to the shipping lanes in the Mediterranean Sea, which they don't technically really have with Crimea at the moment. Once they take Ukraine and own that section of shoreline, they will have.
Well, they own the Black Sea completely, right? And then they own that access to the Mediterranean. I could tell you this as a submarine guy that we target those ships all the freaking time, and those submarines. And in fact, if we wanted to do a first strike, we would absolutely win this war. If you call it in parentheses, this war, in a matter of hours. The problem is that the nukes, right? That is the only thing that keeps them from happening. In a conventional war, Russia cannot stand with us. They cannot. There's no way. In the first couple hours, there's submarine launch. We call it a nuclear triad, right? The bombers, the silo-based ballistic missiles, and the submarine-launched ballistic missiles. We would eliminate the ballistic missiles from submarines in a matter of a couple minutes. You give the order. You know what I did as a submarine sonar tech? I mean, that was my whole job, and the job of every fast tech submariner out there in the world, is to know where those submarines are and to track them and to have the orders. We were always at DEFCON 3, even back then, always. And the idea was that as soon as those missile tubes are flooded, which is what prepares them for launch, we shoot, period. We don't need an order from the president. We don't need anything like that. Once those missile tubes are flooded for launch, to ready them for launch, our standing order always was and still is to sink those submarines. So there's only about 20 of them that are deployed at a time. We probably have 18 of them tracked right now, if not all of them. We could sink that threat right away, day one. I mean, most of it, but it only takes one. That's the whole problem, right? Yeah, that's the whole problem.
I mean, my biggest problem with it is those, submarine style drones that just sit out there, that go 300 miles an hour and blow up and fucking put a tidal wave against the West Coast and the East Coast at the same time. And the destruction from that. That's something that America can't recover from. So, I mean, North America is isolated from the rest of the world. America has essentially been eliminated as a necessity. We've been sucked off of like leeches. All our technology has been released and copied and, taken away. And
well, the solar winds hack. They have all our technology. They absolutely have everything we have.
Yeah,
100%.
So they
don't know our intelligence, right? Like they don't know what we know as far as the intelligence goes. But as far as fabricating the very war weapons that we use, they absolutely have that. Both China and Russia, 100%.
Well, yeah, but I just mean...
and so we're in this dilemma where we only have a couple years at best to act if we're going to act, and maybe that's what this is. I've thought about that, like the idea that our only ability to compete is to keep them from having the technology we have that they obtained, right, and put into production. So we have those things, those assets already out there. So in a way, this is tailor-made for us to eliminate those threats. And don't make a mistake about it. Like what's going on in Ukraine right now, we could absolutely wipe out that stranded convoy, which is nothing more than bait, in my opinion.
That's what I'm saying.
We could do that in a matter of minutes.
They're using vehicles that they used in the Afghanistan war or whatever. I mean, the shit is like, it's like a movie set or whatever. Anyways, let's get back to Rock and Rio.
Sorry, Rio.
No, that's all right, because it is an interesting thing, because especially when I was looking at one of the other guys did a press conference last week as well, and he was a little bit on the whole war scene in reverse. And this is kind of the apocalyptic scenario, right? The war starts small and it builds up. Once they have Ukraine and then they have the access to the Mediterranean, nothing would be stopping them from going through the Mediterranean and down to Israel, right? So if the Ezekiel's war is Gog and Magog, which is Russia and Israel.
Well, check this out.
We also know that Syria and Israel are at real high tensions right now, right? And it also says Damascus will be destroyed in a day. Is this, even though it's Russia and Ukraine right now, if Syria starts throwing stuff at Israel and Russia's backing Syria, and they have that direct access to go right down to Israel, are they going to step in with Syria and really start World War III? And go with the big guns? I mean, it is, that's a very distinct possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's been for
India,
2,000 years.
India also has been threatened by Biden solos with sanctions. And the sanctions hurt the people. They don't hurt the government. So
right. But in the case of India, they at least they didn't vote no in the UN resolutions to punish Russia for what they're doing, Russian aggression.
And
it's abstained. But the 5 countries that voted no are Russia, right, Syria, North Korea, right. And I forget the other 2 actually at the top of my head.
Well,
but the point being that these are people you don't want to be associated with.
Well, what Rio was saying about
China was the other one. So actually, China I think is going to ride this out. They're going to try to just ignore it as long as they can and not be involved, right? Because they don't want to be.
Well, they've got their eyes set on Taiwan right now. So
yeah. Well, they're hoping that we get obligated through our force, our military forces.
They're waiting for us to be distracted on the other side while they go and do their thing. That's what.
But meanwhile, actually, we're sending F-22s and we're sending our fleets over to Taiwan, so that's not going to happen.
I know news about what I was doing now.
Yeah, right.
Well, now what's happening?
So let's get back to it.
Yeah, let's get back to it. But let me just say, so Ukraine is Khazaria, and these people in Israel are now claiming to be Khazarian Jews that have direct connections to the Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy from Ukraine is a triple citizen. I think.
And don't forget,
Zelensky's Jewish, yeah.
Yeah. So
don't forget those Khazarian Jews are the ones referred to in the Old Testament as the synagogue of Satan.
That's right.
So
all of a sudden, people are taking credit for being Khazarian. I find that to be kind of interesting. But anyways, let's get back to Rock and Rio and the reverse perverse. Go ahead, man.
Okay, so let's see. Where did we leave off here? So the next thing will be, the law hurts. It's so sad now, but who fights it? Say a liar are you and me. And then it says, hear us who's sinful when we need our next human. Hear us, human. Worship the beast whose soul was not made on the earth. Receive him, and we'll fight that evil with him. So here we go with that. The law hurts. It's so sad now, but who fights it?
Law hurts. It's your sad now, but who fights it?
Say a liar are you, and on me. Hear us who's sinful when we need our next human.
Say a liar are you, and on me. Here is a sinful when we need our next human.
Hear us, human. Worship the beast whose soul was not made on the earth. Receive him.
As your middle the beast of sorrows are made on the earth. You see it.
And people applaud for that. We'll fight that evil with him.
We'll fight that evil.
The next part is going to be, is there a mystic? Because this is it, and the crime because this is it, and the crime attest the Lord set out. Now the lost he vets. Are you in it? And the marked in the show have already lost it. This master over the earth below will shame in the sky. It's a war we just mounted. Is there a mystic? Because this is it, and the crime attest the Lord set out.
Yeah, this is it.
Okay, this crime, and now the lost Yvettes, are you in it?
Yvettes, are you in it?
And the marked in the show, they already lost it. The master over the earth below will shame in the sky. It's a war we just mounted.
All
right, and then I'm going to take a second here to jump up to the next one, but it's going to say the law. It says the law hurts. It's so sad now, but who fights it? Oh, hey, this is the. What do I have this in two places here? Where did it go? Okay, where is it?
I don't know.
I'm trying to find it.
No worries. So tomorrow morning, wake and bake.
3316.
We'll be here.
Where is 3316?
We'll be here for the wake and bake. Hey, Mountain Devil, what's happening? Good to see you. It's good to see everybody. Good to see everybody over here. We appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. This has been a whole rocket ride of a show. Wait till you see these emails that went back and forth between Mr. Gates and this fucking little prick over at
I can't wait to see that.
Wait till you see it, dude. Give me your email address right now. I'll forward it to you.
Now let me do the one last line here.
Yeah, just send me your email in this Skype call. And you too,
Okay.
Epic, send me your email too, where you want me to send this to, so you guys can see this. And we'll get this out on the air, but not tonight. All right. So, but tomorrow we'll be back. Yeah, email me, Robin, and then tomorrow we'll be back after the to do wake and bake in the morning. Hey, Erasmus. Did you used to be? Did you Erasmus? Did you used to be in the chat room, over on Oracle when Oracle Broadcasting was on? I've seen you, Erasmus. I don't know if my Siri keeps fucking coming on. Erasmus, did you just go by Erasmus? I don't know. Are you guys still here? Yeah. Okay. I don't know, man. Something.
Yep, I'm still here.
Yeah, Mr. Gates is still around. We were trying to get him on tonight, but he was having some personal fun tonight with his son. They were celebrating something, so but he's gonna come on. We're gonna talk about this on the air, air the grievances or whatever. And you guys will be tripped out, man, when you hear all this stuff. Yeah, man, dude, this has been unbelievable, man, tonight. I wish we were on the air and it was going out to thousands and thousands of people, man.
It's a good show, right? It really is.
I know,
and I think that it's just one of these things that it's unfortunate that we don't have the audience perhaps we did in the past. But I think that in a way, it's going to draw people to us because it's so good. Like, that was so good. This whole program has been great.
Yes.
And yeah, we all know, right, that this is all, everything we're seeing is bogus. It's not political. People keep trying to put it through a political lens. It's not a political lens. It's spiritual warfare. That's what we're dealing with.
It's crazy.
And yeah, and it's good in that sense.
I've never heard any reverse speech like what we're hearing tonight, ever. And I mean, I've heard it for years, man. I've been listening to this shit with David Oates. You know what I mean? It used to be I couldn't even hear it. Now we've done it so many times, I've gotten used to it. I can hear it more, but I'm just saying this one is really intense, man. Yeah, the Celtic Rebel. Yeah, man. I love the Rebel. I've tried to get him on when we had shows, when we were on the air somewhere. It's not that I don't dig being on the air over here. It's just that we always saw you guys, so this is always what the show looks like to us anyway. But the fact that we know it's going out somewhere and there's shitloads of people out there listening, that's, it makes it different. Even though we see you, we still know there's other people that hear it. So it's just a bummer that, we're now over here on this channel and we were getting some views over on the other channel on the shows that we're
number 3 or 4 consistently.
I know.
On TalkStream Radio. I mean, in other words, I don't know if people appreciate that was. I mean, we're beating people like Steve Bannon. We're beating people like Fox News. We're beating people like OAN. We're beating them all.
Yeah.
In live TalkStream views. That is the thing. And is that why they, moved to eliminate us? I mean, I don't know. There's things that may be suspicious because we're kind of conspiratorial minded to start with. But I would say that what we saw is the elimination of a threat, right? That really seems like it was to me,
dude. And
the thing is, we were number 2 on the network, and we were always up in the top 5 or top 10. Even with the Sunday morning music show, we were always in the top 10 on TalkStream Live.
The Sunday morning music show was always on the first page until a certain time. But I mean, the thing is, man, is that's an interesting that you bring that up, because I thought about that too, because in one fell swoop, well, I mean, we don't know what happens behind the scenes. I'm just saying, in one fell swoop, they took a bunch of people off the air, not just us. So it was us and Billy and Brisson.
Before the invasion of Ukraine.
Exactly. Exactly. And also, right at that same moment, Joe Rogan was getting heat for that Malone interview.
Mm-hmm.
And then he started getting heat. Then he started getting heat for the racial thing. But the thing is our interviews and our shows that we did with Doc McCarran were just as intense as any shit that Joe fucking Rogan was doing. And the other thing is, we were bringing shit to the table on Aftermath that was just as strong as any Joe Rogan shit, just as powerful people, just as, I mean, the show.
Well, what I'm saying, though, is that when they pulled the plug, it wasn't even just us. I mean, Billy Ray was,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right next to us, ratings wise.
Yeah.
And had just as many listeners, and David Knight had his morning show.
Yeah.
I mean, he can't, there was a lot of people who they pulled off other networks, built up Aftermath, and then just dumped us all. When we had served our purpose.
It's suspicious as hell, man. When you think about the kind of talk that was going on Aftermath, you had Leo Zagami on there. You had, like you said, David Knight every day, hammering that shit. We were having McCarran on every Tuesday night, every week. You know what I mean? Plus Dr. Rowe was on there. Plus, Steve Pecoinen, all these fucking people. What's his face? Sean David Morton. As soon as Sean David Morton came on the show, everything went to shit, dude. Look, we got a strike over here. They took away.
Yeah, what was that all about, by the way? And the thing about this,
he has the formula for free energy in one of those books that he wrote, and that's why they said he went to prison, is because he put that. They told him specifically, don't you put that in any book, and he went ahead and did it, and they said that's why they threw his ass in prison. And gave him cancer. So.
It's one of those things that when you look at it in retrospect, the fact that we were bringing things to the table and actually potentially even going to overtake Clyde Lewis himself on the network, and I'm not dissing Clyde Lewis in any way.
No,
I'm just saying the fact that all this uprising of the people themselves was a threat to the network in a way, but in that case, what does a network really mean? Was it a network that was really about getting the information out, or was it the information that was targeted to be out? That's what the question is.
Well, yeah, and the whole
I mean,
money aspect of it is on the crooked side too.
Dude, I hearken back to when our show didn't get played, and we were playing the show on YouTube, and they were talking over the show.
All the voices going over us. Yeah, I totally.
And the
all our listeners who were there.
The shit that Clyde was saying in reverse about us. I mean, at the same, well, it wasn't necessarily about us, but what he was saying while we were saying what we were saying. And
it's like he was listening to the show, and they were having side conversation at the same time. And what you were saying in reverse correlated to what he was saying in reverse.
But what I was saying in reverse was correlating to what he was saying forward. Because he was talking over the show.
Yeah, what you were saying in reverse correlated to what he was saying forward. And what he was saying in reverse correlated to what you were saying forward.
Yeah, man.
It was a really bizarre overlap. It was almost like you were having a conversation, but not having a conversation just because you were both in each other's heads at that point.
Well, what was a trip too is it had to do with good and evil. It's the conversation that was going on. We should do a show about that, man.
About good and evil, yeah, for sure. I mean, the whole thing about that.
No,
I remember in my time thinking that this was something that, whether Clyde was intentionally involved or not, doesn't matter. I mean, he may not have been at all. Absolutely, he could be completely innocent. But the fact is that what was going on was a targeted operation, 100%. Every bit as much as what something like Steve Bannon would have done with Cambridge Analytica. Absolutely, there's no question about it. It was designed, air quotes, specifically to fuck with us.
Exactly. Well, think about it. They took the biggest hosts off the other networks, right? We were on Revolution Radio.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Ray was on TFR. David Knight was on something else. John Brisson and Don were both at TFR.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And what they did is they took the biggest hosts off all the competition networks and asked us to come over to Aftermath. And then told us they wanted us to be exclusive with Aftermath and asked us to leave the other networks, or in Billy's case, Chris Geo tossed him because he was on Aftermath.
Mm-hmm.
And, once we were all exclusive to Aftermath, we were there for a couple months.
Right.
Brought up the ratings on the network, brought up the ratings on the channel and on Clyde's, and got listeners and got memberships to the website. And then they just tossed us all to the side and kept all the money. And now it's Ground Zero Radio 24/7.
It was never about the money, though, was it? It was about getting us over there and silencing us. That's exactly.
Well, yeah, it was about getting us. Well, it was about building up Aftermath and the membership at Aftermath at the same time, taking down the other networks a notch. And then when they were done with us, now
they took us
they
all
just
out.
tossed us to the curb like trash.
But it's not even just like trash. It's what he's saying is he took a bunch of voices out that were eliminated off other networks. So those voices aren't on those networks anymore. So in other words, those
Billy's
voices.
not back on TFR. We're not back on Revolution Radio.
Yeah, with one swipe of the fucking machete, they took out a whole shitload of people that really had a voice that could be heard, bringing information to people. They took.
What was it from KGRA, right? That from there too. So I mean, they hit a lot of the big networks. They hit a lot of their competition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I don't know. Well, it is what it is, man. We know we got our 50 friends over here. So
that's right.
So that's all that matters.
We've got our hardcore listeners.
And yeah, JM Grove is helping us out with some website stuff, so we'll be doing that. All right. Well, listen, man. It's midnight here on the West Coast. It's 3 a.m, the witching hour on the East Coast. So let's get the hell out while the getting's good, because we got to come back in the morning and play some music.
Yeah, we're gonna do the
wake and
the
bake.
old wakey bakey.
Yeah, if you guys could contribute, anybody's got an extra few bones laying around, you can throw it my way. I'd appreciate it.
Can I just say too that the confirmed death now of Michael Aquino actually made a difference. I mean, I know this sounds weird, the thing to pull out at the end of the show, but we were being freaking attacked, literally, spiritually, witchcraft-wise.
We were, man.
No freaking joke, people.
There's no way.
When did he die?
About a year ago now. Yeah, and I think it was April last year. And yeah, I'm not positive. I have to look it up now. But dude, dudettes, everybody listening.
Mm-hmm.
It was something that I've experienced before in a weird way, but not that kind of level ever, where images are put in my mind. I mean, never something like that. And I got to tell you, this is when we talk about spiritual warfare. This is what we're talking about. I mean, this is what we're talking about. These people aren't just trying to do something politically. They're doing something spiritually. They're trying to affect us all, to put us against each other. And the only way we can fight it is to be together and fight for the truth itself.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, if we were to tell you all the shit that's gone on since we started doing this stuff in this show, you guys would not believe it. You think we're like some paranoid fools saying some shit, and so that's why we don't talk about it. You know what I mean? It's like we don't sit here and sit here and just talk about all the stuff that's gone on, man, behind the scenes. I mean, it's
Yeah, there's been some really bizarre things that have happened.
Yeah, it's fucking, it's literally it's
things that are not coincidental by any means of the stretch of the imagination.
No, yeah.
Best Western.
They always come in when they're not supposed to.
Yeah, no. I mean, I know it sounds like we're being paranoid to people who haven't followed us or do anything like that. But I mean, the thing is that the topics we've covered are things that take years, literally years of research to do, and they're kind of addictive in a way, right? Like the things that, if just for example, just to look into Manson by itself, I never was a Manson researcher kind of guy. I got into him because I was searching what Playboy was doing with frickin' Stanford back in the day, and it led me to that. And then I have to research all that stuff too, and you find out that everything's connected in this way, right? And so there
was a very definitive moment when you got onto the John McAfee thing, and we're talking about the wall in Spain.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of trouble after that show.
We did, man. We did, and you know what? That was how they found him. They found him because of that, not because of us. They found he was dead before that, but the fact that is exactly how they found him. What was his little cubby hole out there, in Barcelona on the outskirts, was he led them to himself in a way by putting these clues there, but he put them there so that people like us could see them. And yeah, I don't know if people, I mean, we're going to get caught up in this whole, potentially World War III situation, but the thing is, people need to look at that a little bit harder, because that really is like the pivot point of what a lot of the things in we call the alternative media and people waking up or whatever really revolves around. I mean, what he was trying to do, and how he went in exile to do those things. We're talking about McAfee here, and the clues he put there in his late life, where he was kind of deranged and maybe a little bit schizophrenic. I don't know, but the thing is, he put those clues there for a reason, and they're all there for everybody to see, and that's how they caught him. But man, it's there, man. It's all there. It's all there, and it's all about symbolism. It's all about how you can take those symbols and make a cohesive dialogue out of it that says something.
Well, it's sigil magic, right?
Yeah, absolutely it is.
Well, I mean, look, we got into some, we exposed a lot of stuff, man, that nobody even remotely even knew about or thought about, and lots of people got good ideas from stuff that we brought to the table and expanded on some of the stuff that we brought. I mean, so this show, I'm proud of every minute of this show, and I enjoy it. I just want to get it so it's rolling out there and going with people. People get a chance to hear the show besides just us over here, our buddies. I really want to get the show going on a station, man, or on a network, or if we have to start our own network, then that's what we'll do. We talked about it before, but yeah. So, all right, you guys ready to bone out? I think it's time to go.
That's a good outro. I think. Yeah. We need to see a song to go with it, Jimmy. You know what? Maybe old school. Maybe go with the old school green room exit. Maybe that's the way to go.
You think? Well, you started talking.
I think so.
You started talking to Keno, so I was thinking this. So I'll play this before I play that.
On and
this tall.